Hi everyone, hello, it is I, Trooper SJP, and see what happened. What had happened was, I wanted to quick get something, so I wanted to like just check to see where we're at in our time, if we were at soon yet, or how much time we had, and I pressed the wrong button, and so rather than going to me just checking to see where we're at, I went to the Flash. Then I was like, well, if I'm at Flash, then I just have to go live. I just want to be able to get the thing. I wanted to get a thing, but it's okay. I'm not bothered, but also, that's a little loud, but also, I'm gonna mute it while I'm chatting with you. Hello. I fixed it. Hi, everybody. Hey, Artie. Hey, Rissa. Hey, Krellin. Bronx Smash. Smash. Hawkeye. Hey, Vo. Clockwork. How are y'all doing? I hope you're all doing really well. I'm doing well. So, I was going to get a glass of eggnog because I made some, but then I didn't. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. How far to Disco Elysium are we? Have we got past the guy that wants you to be an advanced racist yet? We have. I punched him. I was like, well, you know what? We're gonna put on all of our best clothes that make us stronger, and then we will punch him in the face. And that's what I did. And so that was great. And then we talked to the union guy, and he's sort of skeezy. And I think he's going to try to blackmail us. I don't like it. I mean, he's not blackmailed us yet. He just implied that he will blackmail us the minute he can get a hold of my gun. So I'm hoping I can find it before he does, because otherwise he's going to blackmail us. But at the moment, we're hanging out in a fishing village, so that's cool. Which kind of alone will I be tomorrow? That's a very good question. So, the very first Alone Against that Chaosium put out was Alone Against the Wendigo, but it was redone as, I think, Alone Against the Ice. And I'm also pretty sure that I have that. So if that is true, we'll probably do that one because it's the first one, you know what I mean? But there was an earlier one from 1983 that was put out in a magazine. And if I can find that, maybe we'll do that. Let me see. Chaosium. Call of Cthulhu, 7th edition. Solo. Alone Against the Frost. I'm pretty sure that, well, but okay, so here's the thing. We did Alone Against the Flames. The second one that was published by Chaosium was Alone Against the Dark. So we might do that one. There are a couple of other ones that have come out, including Alone Against the Static, etc., but we'll probably do Alone Against the Dark, because that was the next one published. So probably that one. That's what I think. Probably. I want to do, so I had this thought. I want to do 2d6 Dungeon because I kickstarted it, but then I realized that I should be more... I wanted to do 5 parsecs from home, but I realized that I should be more methodical about all of this business when I go solo. I've been just being like, oh, well, what I've been doing is doing as many really early games as I can find. Oh, dang it. I need to do James Bond because that's an early one. That's a very early RPG, and I have On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and I should totally do that. But I won't do that next. We'll do this one next. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. Look, so here's the thing. We've been going solo, and I took some... I want to make a really cool opening credit sequence for going solo, but, you know, that's fine. The point is that I really like going solo because I really like solo RPGs. I find them really interesting, and I want to do as many different styles and kinds of solo RPGs as possible. I also want to do... we've tried a bunch of different types. We've done so basically there are a couple of major... I haven't done 10,000-year-old vampire, 1,000-year-old vampire, 1,000-year-old vampire, and that's a really important one that I have not done yet, so I have to do that. I also really have to do Mythic 2E, which is a GM emulator, and which I also haven't done that style yet, and that's one of the big ones, so I have to do that as well. I've done the Jenga Tower ones. Oh, well. I've done a bunch of them, right? The Alone and Wretched ones. I've done card-based ones. I've done a bunch of different ones, but I haven't done all the styles. And there are a bunch of things I haven't done yet, so I thought I should be more systematic in how I do them. I'm going to be doing, of course, some more Crash Jones, but I'll probably do that in the summer. So in the summer, I'll do like a round of Crash Jones. Or, yeah, in the summer, I'll do a Crash Jones. Because delicious and nutritious. Anyway, not the point. The point is I've got to do some emails. But this is
Somebody's watching me.
I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-ba-ba-pow. Hey, thank you for the follow. And hello, Sharkaterix. Sharkaterix. Which is like a Sharknado, probably. We gotta move those microwave ovens. Custom kitchen delivery. We got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TVs. That's a great video. That was a great video. So I wanted to tell you things. What's playing? So I think, How Far Into Disc? We did that. Music Lady on Ice, I did, which is sort of like Stars on Ice, but different. Just found a random US quarter coin. Oh, that's cool. Fond memories of being in a James Bond campaign. Do the Octopussy module, says Hawkeye. Right? And I've heard really good things about the James Bond game in terms of its sort of importance, and so I'm looking forward to doing that as well. My coins are so extra. So here's what I was thinking. What I was thinking was that the last one I did was Chevalier for the Streamiversary stream, and then the one I did before that was Pendragon. And so what I was thinking is that if we think about this, if we divide this up into early, middle, late, or genre, then I thought I was going to do 5 parsecs from home, but that's sci-fi, and I just did a sci-fi. So I thought what I should probably do is when I'm doing my going home, I should probably alternate time periods / genres. And since I did sci-fi and before that I did fantasy, I feel like it only makes sense to do contemporary, modern. So Call of Cthulhu it is. I will be doing Alone Against the Dark tomorrow, and Saturday will be Twilight Road with PB and with Pumpkinberry and Marcus Best Kind of Worst and also Bill of the Forest. So that's very exciting. I want my disco Eve. Hey, be right. Woo! A 10,000-year-old vampire would be very different from a 1,000-year-old one. That's true. It'd be very different. Also, hey, must be one of the state quarters with the fancy art on the tall sail side. That was a special thing. Ooh. Oh, I'm all caught up. I don't trust the police. Every step I take, every move I make, they may be watching me. It's true, actually. It's true. I gotta learn to play the banjo. I need to learn how to megaphone. Carol says, it makes me sad that Sting wanted us to hate the person in that song, and so many people use it as a wedding song. Yeah, some people do not have really good listening skills. Do you know what I mean? Like, they hear what they want to hear, not, sometimes people do not have good media literacy. That's all. PB and Marcus, yep, and Bill the Force. Also, there's also Captain's Logs as Astro's Place, which I have. I have the PDF of it. So I have to do that one as well. But but my goal now, my plan is that I'm going to try to alternate time periods so that I don't do the same time period in a row. Like I don't do 2 fantasy in a row. This is my current goal. We'll see if we can follow that up. By the way, I was actually struck by a smooth criminal. We have to roll for our sanity in chat, though. It's true. Given your extensive musical knowledge, not joking, if you were to play a vampire game, this could indeed be based on annoyance at the introductory passage of a jazz piece. That was meant to be a joke. I see you. I see you. I was just talking with a friend of mine who just did a short session in his 5e campaign dealing with about a month's downtime. He utterly abused the economy with his wizard by repeatedly making plate armor, chain armor, barding with the Fabricate spell. Oh, that's interesting. Can Fabricate do that? I thought that Fabricate couldn't do that. I thought that Fabricate could only do things that were like 5 pounds or something. Right? I thought there was some sort of thing about Fabricate that made it way less good than you thought it would be. Let me see. Also, I've got singing that's going to happen, and thanks for that sub, and also for those bits. Please do not think that I've forgotten. But Druidcraft, Earthquake, Eldritch Blast, Fabricate. You convert raw materials into products of the same material. Okay. For example, maybe you can do anything with it. You can fabricate a wooden bridge. Oh, looks like, what am I thinking of? I'm thinking of something else, aren't I? It's a cantrip that I'm thinking of. This is a 4th level spell. Let's see. You can fabricate a large or smaller object. Choose raw materials that you can see within range. You can fabricate a large or smaller object contained within a 10-foot cube or 8 tinted 5-foot cubes, given a sufficient quantity of raw material. If you are working with metal, stone, or another mineral substance, however, the fabricated object can be no larger than medium. The quality of objects made by the spell is commensurate with the quality of raw materials. Creatures or magic items can't be created or transmuted by this spell. You also can't use it to create items that ordinarily require a high degree of craftsmanship, such as jewelry, weapons, glass, or armor, unless you have proficiency with this type of artisan's tools used to craft such objects. So, unless he is also a smith, which he might be, then I think the answer to that is no. But if he is a smith, then yes, though he still needs all the raw materials, which means he still needs to buy those or acquire those in some way. I think basically all it does is get rid of the labor cost, so I don't think it would ruin the economy. Yes. I still want you to go get your eggnog because I want you to have something to drink. Oh, I have both Coca-Cola and also water. I have the whole thing. I've got beverage. Bill's pretty cool, but he's not PB, and Mark is cool. Sorry, Bill. He managed to get one hefty letter of credit from the Mages Guild. Australia says, now the important question, Trooper. Which cover did you get for the captain's log? Oh, I got... Hold on. I think I got the gold one. Captain's log. That's by Modifius. Yeah, I got the gold one. Right? I think that's the Delta, the original series Delta edition. Is that right? Yes. I got the original series Delta edition is the one that I got. Raw versus DM. You also need to have the relevant artisan tool proficiency. Yes. You also can't use it to create items that, Mending? No, I think I was thinking of a different thing that lets you create something that's really small. And the prerequisite materials. I drop a bridge on the captain. For context, use a feat to pick up smithing proficiency for exactly this reason. So it lets a smith mage make weapons and armor basically, it just lets a smith mage make weapons and armor faster, but you don't get to make them for free. You still would need all of the materials. It allows the wizard to make a suit of plate armor worth 1,500 gold pieces in the space of 10 minutes if they have the metal for it. Yeah, it's the TOS one. They would need the metal for it. Hold on. Here's the question. The question is, what do the crafting rules say in general about material costs? Because that would be the whole thing. And also, why is the index so small? I'm gonna sing, by the way. Creature, creating spell slots, creating a character, create, crafting, see downtime activity. Deities. Disco, Elysium, Divine Draconic, Element OP, downtime activities 187. 187. 78. 5. 187. Crafting. Theo says. Yeah, it's prestidigitation I was thinking of, Artie. That's exactly what I was thinking of. For every day of downtime you spend crafting, you can craft one or more items with a total market value not exceeding 5 gold pieces, and you must expend raw materials worth half the total market value. Something you want to craft has a market value greater than 5 GP. You make progress every day in 5 GP increments, until you reach the market value of the item. For example, a suit of plate armor, market value 1,500, takes 300 days to craft by yourself. Thank you. Thank you, Vo. So the person would need 750 gold pieces worth of steel, and then they could make the suits of armor. And then they would also need to find people to buy it. Doing 300 days of labor in 10 minutes does seem mildly economy breaking. Yes, but I think the thing is... here's what I'm going to say about that, though. Depends on the kind of game you're playing, right? If you're playing a game where it doesn't really matter, where you don't really care about sort of verisimilitude, you're not really doing a medieval fantasy game, you're just kind of doing like a fantasy game, then who cares, right? Let them go. As long as they have the money, they make the armor, go. They make lots of money. I mean, they make less money. They don't make 1,500. They make 750 a pop. They're playing Eberron. Again, though, it depends on the style of the campaign, right? Here's what I'm going to say about that. You need a Patreon to afford your outputs in the first place. So, Krellin, this is where I was getting, right? If you're playing a game that's not based on realism, it doesn't care about. If your game does not care about the economy, which many games don't, then just let them go and make that. As long as they have the steel, and actually, if you really don't care about the economy, just hand wave it and just let them just do it, and then just make the money, and it's fine. It can't break the economy if you don't care about the economy in the first place, right? So as long as you don't care about the economy, let them break it, because you can't break a thing you don't care about in the first place. If you do care about verisimilitude with the economy, which again many games don't, then I don't think it would be game breaking. Yeah, that's why he's trading that with a mages guild rather than flooding the market. And here's why: because plate mail usually has to be made custom order to a person, unlike chainmail. So plate mail, you actually need someone who wants to buy it. It has to be custom fit for it to work. So you can't just make, if you're being realistic about it, you can't just make suits of plate mail. You need to custom fit it to someone. So you would need a customer. So you would need people who can afford plate mail. And if you're going with a realistic economy, most people cannot afford plate mail because it's really expensive. So plate mail's probably out. Yeah, about 9:30, Rissa. You could probably do chainmail, right? And save yourself lots of time, which would probably be better. He said the GM gave them a catalog of magic items Mages Guild procure for them in quick order. Yeah, so what that just, see, here's the thing. That means that means the GM does not really care about the economy, so it's not really economy breaking. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're going for a space where that's the thing. If you don't really care about the economy, which many people don't, then it's fine. Like, doesn't matter. Plate mail isn't actually a thing unless you use it to mean a combination of coat of plates and a cover of chainmail on the joints and other parts. Yes. Not going later because there's no CR. Well, at 9:30, I'm going to see where I'm at. So they broke the economy the way a Family Guy character does something in a cutaway joke. It's just a bit, doesn't affect the greater narrative. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, there was a thing I was going to do. What I was going to do was the name game. Come on, it's like this. See, it's like there are some people who don't care about encumbrance, and there are people who don't care about supplies. Right? There's some campaigns where they're just not going to track arrows. They're not going to track food. They're not going to track encumbrance. And in those games, if the game doesn't care about that, if the GM and the players don't care about that, then I don't think it's like game breaking to like create endless arrows, because basically they just don't care about it in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? Now, yeah, it's like usually these sorts of things have checks and balances built into them, even if it's just like verisimilitude about like you don't have endless. It's doubtful that somebody has endless amounts of money, that they have like hundreds of thousands of gold pieces just to give you for all this stuff. It's also doubtful that you could find that much steel. Like, where are you going to get that steel? How, like, do you have the trading connections to do that, right? Is that much steel available where you're at? So if you're one of those sort of campaigns that cares about all that stuff, then I don't think that spell's going to break the economy, because the economy is built such that those things should be taken into account in the first place. But if you're in a campaign that doesn't care about those things, then it can't break the economy, because the economy doesn't exist in that way. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of the things, like, if you care about it, then you care about it, and then that probably will not be happening. If you don't care about it, then it doesn't matter. As we would say maybe in the army. As I was saying, though, come on, everybody. It's like some of these debates that happen around populations in fantasy campaigns medieval fantasy campaigns with magic. People say, oh, well, it's unrealistic to have magic in a medieval fantasy world because if you had, you know, priests that could just bless the crops every time, then you would have huge amounts of surplus food, which means that they would have technological advances really quickly, and so there's no way you could have a medieval fantasy campaign because the world would end up being the 20th century, 21st century, like almost immediately because of the ways in which magic would just change everything. But I find that argument, sure, do that if you want to be. But see, the thing is, the people who say that don't want to be in a 21st century technological campaign. They don't even want guns usually. They're just usually mad. They even want to like nitpick the existence of magic in a fantasy world. But my response is, well, but it is a fantasy. It is a medieval fantasy world. So if it is a medieval fantasy world, then that means that it's also not Earth, right? That means that either you don't have enough clerics to just run around blessing all the crops all the time, right? You just don't have enough of them to do that. There may not, just because you can play a cleric as a PC doesn't mean that every single small village has a cleric. Or it might mean, if you do have clerics everywhere, it might mean that the ground on this planet is so not arable that if you did not have clerics blessing all the crops all the time, you would not get the kind of crop output that we had without magic, right? So like you have to kind of basically decide, a fantasy world may not be the same as Earth is all I'm saying, right? It may not be the same Earth in terms of soil nutrients, in terms of how things work in terms of physics, or all sorts of things, how the moon works. I mean, who knows? Because if there's magic already, that means there are already sort of changes. So I just find that sort of nitpicking a fantasy world because that has magic, because it doesn't work the way our Earth works without magic, I always find a little bit like, what do you want to do? Anyway, I'm going to catch up on chat, but first I'm going to sing, though, the name game. Come on, everybody. Say, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fenner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. But if the first two letters are ever the same, I drop them both and say the name. I like Bob. Bob drop the B's, Bo, oh Fred. Fred drop the F's, fo, red. Oh Mary, Mary drop the M's, mo, airy. That's the only rule that is contrary. Be right, be right, be right, bo, e right, banana, fana, fo, fee right, fee, fi, mo, me right. Be right. The name game. Thank you for that resub, Be Right. It was like 57 months. That's a long time. 57 months is almost 5 years. Do you? No, that's not right. No, it is. I am right. It's almost 5 years. That's wild. I was right. We've got like... That's wild. That's all I'm saying. That is all that I'm saying. That's it. I've got, Thank you. Also, I got bits coming in. And, from Be Right. And, I'm gonna sing that. But I also feels like there's chat that is really important. And I want to just like read it. Let's see. Reminded of the Thaymarts that the Forgotten Realms had in 3rd edition. Oh, the Thaymarts. GM also did a little hand wave and said the mages are going to just put a low-level enchantment on the armor that does low-level sizing the wearer. I wonder if they're gonna sell it too. You know what? I bet it doesn't matter in that campaign. I bet the campaign it just does not matter. I did interrupt my own singing. I did twice because I wanted to get that thought out. Come on, never. Can I get a rewind? But remember, how many vampires per 100,000 in a V-Team city? VO, these are the important questions because, so VO, I feel like you might have been on Reddit and seen some of those threads where people argue about it. Although they argue about it before Reddit. They're like, well, the formula would be you'd have, because see, okay, so here's the thing, because there's various formulae. And they're like, well, it can't be more than one vampire per every this amount. They're like, but that would mean that there's like 300 vampires in New York City. Or, but your formula says it'll only be like 5. But I want to have more than 5 vampires because that doesn't give you a lot of NPCs. So my point is that people argue about that too, like a lot. A lot. Yep. I do need a needle scratch sound effect, as a matter of fact. Needle scratch. Magic places the need for technology. And yeah, also, you know, I hadn't thought about that. I'll tell you in a second. I kind of like how EE dealt with this kind of world building in Ascension. Magic lends itself to an artisanal creative culture, not a mass production one. That's also true. You do not get modern technology without mass production. That's also true. And also, I would imagine that if you have magic, you're probably going to have stronger guilds. And they would probably not... They would probably make it difficult for mass production. Clearly the solution that you need to bless the rain. I do need to bless the rain, actually. Down in Africa. There used to be one, but now they've completely abandoned any sort of concrete measurement. Yeah. Reminds me of a video essay on how dragons, the Game of Thrones, absolutely doom technological development. Oh, that's really interesting. I have a conversation about this, which I will tell you once I catch up, and then also sing, and then as we start the game. But you're not quite sure they're by their armor. You know, if you see the video essay, though, I'd love to watch it. Back in the 80s, there was a shared world series of novels called Lavik that had my favorite magic system. You had an amount of luck as the amount of time your mother was in labor with you. The more luck, the stronger the magic. Oh, that's interesting. But Trooper, what if I want to cause hyperinflation with plate armor like Mana Musa chucking gold everywhere on his pilgrimage to Mecca? Mansa Musa. Well, then, I suppose the question is, what kind of campaign is it? Because if it's a campaign where your GM and your fellow players are cool with you as a player destroying the economy of places, and you're cool with that, then go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Because if nobody's cool with it, and that's like not the assumption, then don't do it, because then it's kind of like a jerk move. But yeah, I kind of think it really depends on what the table social contract is. The gold bug. 60 is, I was right, 65 years. Astro says you usually have another god who's opposed to the fertility god, and this god of death, decay, and pestilence will have clerics who are working against the fertility god by cursing crops and causing famines. Oh, well, that's another thing too, actually. That's another good point, that you may actually have some sort of god of decay that's running around. That's why you would have anti-clerics with, like, cursed crops. Makes sense. That formula doesn't take prey exclusion into account. Ooh, that's a good point. Also, reminder for needle scratch has been. Oh, thank you, Rissa. Ron says, I feel like Eberron is the kind of setting that can naturally absorb a bit of one-person mass production because they have those great magical houses. Yeah, like one of them even is the Mark of Creation. Yeah, I actually really liked. I had a really good time playing Eberron. I played in one of my more favorite D&D games was this Eberron game, actually. So, Be Right gave some bits, and to thank Be Right, yes, Be Right gave some bits, and to thank Be Right for those gifts, bits, I am going to sing We're in the Money, as sung by Ginger Rogers from the film Gold Diggers of 1933, which means I'm going to sing it in Pig Latin. And then I have to tell you about chirps. Earway and hey, the anime. Earway and hey, the anime. Eva at gale at way at wet wakes to tit gale young way. Earway and hey, the anime. Either I skates are on his side. Old man, the idiot, pray, ooh, yare, ooh, three, you are still my young ray, oh. You ever need red lions lay, way at Brian's lay, ooh, say a day. And when we see the end, the order look that the eye get in the eye, we're in the money, we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. Thank you. Thank you for that resub and also for those bits. That is lovely. That is very lovely. So, we are playing Disco Elysium, in case you wanted to know. That is a true fact. And while we're playing Disco Elysium, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, but I figured we might as well just, technically start the game while we're here, so that we, you know how it is. Oh, that's right. We've got to talk to all these ravers, is what we have to do. One of them is wearing blue jeans, cowboy boots, and a lavender sweater with a collared sweater, maybe, or a shirt underneath. One of them has got like punk rock hair, like a raincoat, some kind of sneakers, looks like wool socks and sweatpants, and is wearing, like, it looks like some kind of sweater and a button-down shirt. And the third one is wearing a rib cage, a necklace made of gold discs, earrings, a rib cage, everyone, a rib cage. That's it. Hey Atomica, how are you? I had a really good time with Eberron, but the campaign concept was really, really good. So, by the way, was We're in the Money supposed to be a piss take against greed? Because I've only ever heard that song used sincerely. Oh, VO. Oh my gosh. No. Oh my gosh, VO. So in the movie, Mickey and Minnie, yes, they do. So this can be good. It is indeed, Shupat 11034025. It is very good. The artwork is really gorgeous. The story is very good. The mechanics are really interesting, and like it's quite creative. I think it's very good. I think it's very good. So VO, it is ironic. So the let's see, a pile of nasal sprays, brand name Nosafed Ultra. A speaker, the big kind they use for live music. So it is ironic. Canisters filled with what appear to be water. The label says distilled. All right.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Okay, so VO. Talking of lawsuits, did you hear about the New York Times lawsuit about AI data sets basically being massive copyright infringement? Well, yeah. Oh, well, I am going to just copy this link address, Vulpes, and open up a tab. is what I'm gonna do. Just thank you for that. Ooh, I think there was a so here's the thing we have to find out about recordings, because recordings are still tricky, because recordings, they have musical compositions, but when it comes to recordings, that's different. And I think they put a hold on recordings coming to the public domain again. So that's really, really irritating. So, very frustrating, actually. Very frustrating, because I just know that this website you brought up, which is a good website, by the way, only talks about the compositions that are in the public domain, not the recordings, because the recordings are under a different copyright, and that is... We did get a bunch of... basically, if it's before 19... If it's 1922 and earlier, the recording is in the public domain, but no sound recordings are coming into the public domain this year. We have to wait in January 1, 2024, which is going to be soon, right? Then we will get 1923, recordings from 1923. So that's very exciting. Oh, I heard that there was some guy who used AI to create a couple 100,000 melodies, copyrighted them all, then put them in the public domain. If they're in the public domain, then they're not copyrighted anymore. That's the point of it. Yeah, they do talk a bit because of movies. But also, I don't, according to people I know, you cannot copyright things created by AI. Things created by AI are not copyrightable, because AI, it doesn't count as a person. So that's one of the tricky things. But artists often do performances of public domain stuff and explicitly waive copyright for exactly that reason. They will waive the copyright of their recordings. Yeah. Well, they made it free to use. Yeah, that's different than having a copyright on it, though. But I was going to tell you something. Yes, it's about We're in the Money. So We're in the Money, in the film Gold Diggers of 1933, is a pre-code film that's set in the middle of the Depression. And pre-code films did not ignore that the Depression was happening. So the film starts, and the very first scene that happens in this film is We're in the Money. And it's Ginger Rogers and all these like kickline dancers, and they're all wearing like big discs of gold coins. I mean, we presume it's black and white, so we don't know. And they're all dancing, and it's super lush, and it's super extravagant, super wealthy, and it's all about, you know, how great everything is. AI doesn't count as a person. It's statements like that make you end up with Skynet. You know, Australis, that's true. So the lyrics are, we're in the money, we're in the money, we've got a lot of what it takes to get along. We're in the money, the sky is sunny, old man depression, you're through, you've done us wrong, oh. We never read headlines about bread lines today. And when we see the landlord, we can look that guy right in the eye. We're in the money, we're in the money, we've got a lot of what it takes to get along. But the thing is about that song, hold on, where the money lyrics. So, oh, good. Those are all the lyrics. So here's the thing. In the film, Gold Diggers 1933, which is not 42nd Street, because that song is not in the film 42nd Street. So they're doing the number, big deal, big. And then what happens is that debtors come in, because they're rehearsing a stage play. They're rehearsing you pull back and you realize they're rehearsing a musical. And what ends up happening is that debt collectors come in, because the people who are putting on the musical don't have enough, because of the Depression, don't have enough money to pay their creditors, and the creditors want their money. So the creditors come in, they just start taking all the props and all the sets and all the stuff, and they sort of walk out, and the people who are producing the play are like, you have to let us keep this stuff, because if you let them, the musical goes on, we'll be successful, then we'll make money and we can pay you back. And the creditor and the debtor's like, we don't care, we're going to take all your props, right? So the film is very aware of the fact that the depression exists, and the function of the song is that, like, isn't it great we have so much money, but actually they don't have any money at all, right? Because they're just putting on a show about having lots of money, but they don't even have, but the show doesn't go on. I think they end up connecting to the mob. Nonetheless, point being that the movie itself is and the protagonists are these like 4 women who are all roommates, and they have no money whatsoever. They can't have food, and they just want to be stars on Broadway, but they are poor and miserable, and there's a lot of shenanigans. So early pre-code films were very aware of depression, and the song itself references the depression, and it's sort of like in the context of it being a lie that they're in the money because they're not in the money. As a matter of fact, life is just a bowl of cherries. Lyrics. What year is this song? Rudy Valley sings it. It's from must be from the late. It's from 1931. So so the song "Life Is Just a Bowl of Cherries" from 1931, also during the Depression, right? The lyrics are: people are queer, they're always crowding, scrambling, and rushing about. Why don't they stop someday and dress themselves this way? Why are we here? Where are we going? It's time that we found out. We're not here to stay. We're on a short holiday. Life is just a bowl of cherries. Don't take it serious. It's too mysterious. You work, you save, you worry so, but you can't take your money when you go, go, go. So keep repeating, it's the berries. The strongest oak must fall. The sweet things in life to you were just loaned, so how can you lose what you've never owned? Life is just a bowl of cherries, so live and laugh at it all. At 8 each morning, I've got a date to take my plunge round the Empire State. You admit it's not the berries in a building that's so tall. There's a guy in the show that girls love to kiss, gets thousands a week just for crooning like this. Life is just a bowl of nuts. So live and laugh through it all. So a lot of media was a bit more critical than the stuff that we tend to remember. Yeah, because that's about like people jumping off the Empire State Building because they lost all their money, right? I mean, like, I'm just saying that some of these songs sound quite peppy, but they're not necessarily all that peppy. I expect Mickey and Minnie will get the Winnie the Pooh blood and honey treatment almost immediately. Well, I hope so. Thomas says, it has one of my favorite pull-away shots, too, where Richard Rogers starts all blurry and then sharpens up. Yeah, so well done, right, Atomica? I believe it's right as she goes into the Pig Latin as well. Yes, all her eyes. Have no fear, your paycheck is here. Okay, so the show is typical for the era, and the show itself was atypical. The money was in us all along. Did you check out Gideon the Ninth? I did. I believe. Give me a second. Let me check. I think I have it. I think I put it on my. I put it on my in my cart, my shopping cart to pick up. So it is something that I am looking forward to getting and then reading. Did it ever actually get made, or did they realize what a stupid idea it was and think better of it? On the topic of the Big Mouse, did you hear about the rumored Disney porn vault? No, but I do know that a lot of the animators made pornographic cartoons back in the day. But I always thought that that was not official. You know? Let me Here. Okay.
Hello, I'm Andre. Is a
It's
pleasure
supposed to.
meet
Oh. I'm gonna shake his hand. You know.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
All
you.
right.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
All right.
And Egghead. Egg!
The tape player, high above his head, continues to blast what is probably anodic music.
Together with a Cell Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers.
Huh. Wait, how many music venues have you organized?
We have many in the pipeline, officer.
Why are you here?
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Mhm.
Also for talent.
Are you German? Are you Nosferatu?
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Yeah.
Place is a shithole.
Okay, thanks.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth.
It's all right.
I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
It's okay. It's fine. Was there something you wanted? Your friend Estelle said there was a problem with the church.
Oh, so you've met her. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a matter of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of Narcomania on the coast.
An attempt to pander to your perceived conservative sensibilities.
Mm-hmm.
No person his age would ever use a word like narcomania with a straight face. Don't fall for it.
Right. So enough histrionics. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the church. And
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
I see. Go on.
Dopeheads!
Okay, Egghead.
Burnouts!
He angrily spits on a screw, then starts cleaning it.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that. In Revachol. Strike that! The world!
That's right, Egghead. The world.
Sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts hold up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are.
But don't they need a place to stay, though?
Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
I feel like you may be laying it on a bit thick. What's really so bad about these dopeheads and burnouts?
They're spooky.
Okay. What exactly do you mean by spooky?
I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Uh-huh.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse.
Mm-hmm.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
It's all right, Egghead.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for.
Well, yeah, look, I'll look into it, though, but tell me more.
All right, man.
He claps his hands enthusiastically.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
I got a lot of questions. What is the status of the church? I haven't gotten inside the building yet.
I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in.
Mm.
A padlock. It's a temporary fix. Just something to contain the situation.
I kind of feel like... I don't know how I feel about that.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
All right, let me turn up the volume for you. Because, I had the volume turned down. Let me see what everybody has to say. It's legit because artists get really goddamn bored, so Disney claims ownership of it to make sure it doesn't get out into the wild. Oh, that's interesting. By holding on to it, basically the artists can't just redraw it later like they might be able to if it's destroyed. Interesting. Which means they keep a lot of original Disney porn as further proof of ownership. Oh. it's been proven that a lot of the Pepe Le Pew Warner Brothers Animation cells had, shall we say, rather graphic images in the margins that never were visible because of the film speed. No way. Wow. Huh. Turn up the volume. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers is all our mascot is a cross-dressing rabbit. Ask us if we give a shit what you draw. Wait, sorry, correct. The sequel comes out in February. The original came out early this year. Oh, that's interesting. Was it good? It's available on YouTube to buy or rent. The one in February is, oh, huh. I wonder, is it good? That was before they found they could make money selling cells. Oh, that's interesting. That is so interesting. Huh. The overwhelming consensus is no, it was not good. That's a bummer. Because it could have been interesting if it were good, right? But apparently no. Did I hear about the recent PlayStation controversy? No, I haven't. What is the controversy? What is a film made on a 100K budget that made $5 million? Oh, wow. Good for them, then. What about the key? What about the key?
Of course. Noid, give the officer the key.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna try to catch it like a cool cop.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Just the tiniest chime to your left.
I catch it.
Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks nod to you approvingly.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna play it cool.
The speed freak nods to you. A respectful nod. You proved something here.
Cool. How long have those people been locked in there?
Not long. Like a week, maybe?
How can you be sure they haven't starved to death?
I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on.
This
I'm
is-
at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
85% is not good enough when you're dealing with another person's physical well-being.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Good.
I'm sorry too. I guess it wasn't very hardcore of us to just lock them in like that.
No, it wasn't, egghead.
Me too. I shouldn't have that kind of power over another person. I'm not the one with the violence monopoly here. You are. I'm glad that key is out of my hands now.
I see what comments you're making about state violence and the police has the state is having monopoly on violence. I see you. I get your politics. I get it. How long have those people been locked in there? Well, I think I already asked that question. All right, other question.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it.
Yeah, who exactly are these people inside the church?
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses.
This is bad. It's bad, everybody. Basically, PlayStation are losing the rights to host a bunch of films on their platform. So even folks that bought it on their platform are losing access to it, which may or may not be a violation of consumer rights law in the UK. It's unclear. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah. So I suppose it might come down to whether or not you actually bought it or whether or not you just rented it from them. Because that's how they like to do nowadays and just say, oh, you just rented it from us. And I imagine that's probably okay if you just rent it from them. But I don't like renting things. I like to actually have the things. Well, you know what, though? I bet we'll find out when somebody sues. You haven't even seen them and you want the police involved.
Well, there's also the machinery.
This machinery is of the deeply mystical variety.
When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty.
Okay.
Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up. Suddenly, there are all these strange machines lying around in there.
Okay, like what, though?
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like it.
That's weird.
Andre, tell him about the feeling.
What about the feeling, egghead?
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
Okay.
No, the other one.
Oh, okay, there's another one?
Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg.
Felt like silence. awful silence.
Huh, but you haven't physically seen anyone.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church a couple of times, and we felt someone or something eyeing us inside. But that's kind of it.
Okay, well, all this seems bad. What was that about something watching you?
Like you aren't alone, you know?
It
Yes.
wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Wow, okay, this is a lot.
Not human, as in a ghost. Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like
Oh.
some kind of crab man.
A crab man.
Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab.
Well, that seems bad, actually.
It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behaviour.
Are you sure there was a crab man?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it.
I see.
Estelle was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there.
Okay.
You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't tell her you don't believe in the crab.
Okay.
There probably is no crab man. Don't
Okay.
let them draw you
Well,
in with this
we'll see.
nonsense.
Can you tell me more about this machinery?
You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely.
Okay, so how can you be sure there are burnouts and dope heads if you haven't even seen them?
Well, honestly, I can't, but I am.
Uh-huh.
This is a below feeble attempt at avoidance. Basically, he is attempting to weaponize idiocy.
So you can't, but you do. I should add weaponized idiocy to my own repertoire.
Hey now, I'm 70% sure they're substance abusers.
Uh-huh.
Don't let all that technology fool you. Where do you think the drugs come from?
He makes little quotation marks with his fingers when he says technology. All right, let's talk about something else.
Sure. What?
You mentioned some kind of Ecclesiastes own the church. Who are the Ecclesiastes?
Oh yeah, that's a meteor name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
I'll mask it. Now humor me, Andre. What is the founding party?
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organization.
And
And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericarnassian church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the innocentic system, no?
Now, Andre, in your opinion, would this ancient religious organization who anoints the innocents want a club for erotic music in one of their churches?
Totally.
There isn't a trace of doubt in his voice.
Pericarnassian church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance.
He violently shakes the tape player as if to see if he can break it.
Love is hardcore.
Yeah.
Unity.
Yeah. Peace, love, unity, and respect.
Unity.
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse.
He turns the volume up, then looks at you with a knowing nod as if it's obvious you will now break into dance.
You feel it. The anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the bass, as if testing the waters.
Yeah, I'm gonna nod my head. I'm gonna enjoy the beat.
Feels good.
I'm gonna say, I guess love can be pretty hardcore.
Oh yeah, it can.
He's coming around. You're getting it.
He nods at his friend, then turns to you with a mischievous grin. Yeah, I now understand it was lame of me to suggest otherwise. Anodic music is about love, and so is the Paracarnassian Church.
Yeah! Yakokata! The place to be!
Yeko Kata.
He seems ecstatic that you share his vision of Pericarnassianism.
I have amnesia, so I don't even
Do
know.
it for the masses. Do it for the crew.
His friend forms a fist with a screwdriver still in his hand, approvingly
I
so.
didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
Sorry about
The
that.
one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving.
Yeah! Let it out! Let the disco happen! Bring the disco into this world! Get this church shit on, and then dance there, motherfucker!
That's my necktie. My necktie has
You
feelings.
feel like you could go for a little disco when,
I could.
or if they get this club going. You've got it in you.
I do. We need to go dancing. I wanted to ask you about this tent full of equipment.
Yes. What?
I see you brought your own water.
Yeah. Good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water.
And it's distilled, too.
Oh,
He doesn't know what to say.
it's the one they sell at the fuel station.
Ah, and what's with all the Nosafed?
The what now?
He leans in to hear me better. I put the bottles of the nasal spray in the corner. The Nosafed Ultra, you have a lot of it lying around.
Oh, the old Ultra. We,
Mm-hmm.
I have a major sinus infection, stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter, can't even breathe.
Uh-huh. You sound fine to me.
Yes, that's all Nosafed's doing. Without the Noser, I'd be drowning in shit right now.
Interesting.
Nosafed is the shit.
Can I have some? I have some nose problems too.
Sure. Here you go, officer. The Noser. Blast away.
Okay, well, all right, enough of this.
He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
So... I would really love to roll this, but my logic apparently is quite low. Because I need... that's it for now. I'm not going to roll it yet.
As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah.
I need to up my logic some because I need a 16. I have a +6 logic, but like that's a, still a lot. And I feel like I might have some logic clothes that I can wear, perhaps. I'm not certain about that, but maybe I have like some logic clothing. If also, I'm not wearing a hat. Oh, I gave my hat away. Let me see if I have a good hat to wear that's not terrible. Well, I have 2 hats on. I suppose I'll wear this one. Yeah. So here's the question. Rhetoric or oh, hey. This gives me extra logic. That's cool. Is there anything else that will give me extra logic? And then I have to tell you things. Tell you things about, So it looks like, hey, this necktie gives me more, this bow tie gives me more drama. I'm gonna think about that. But before I do, people, let's see. Where's my rhetoric? Is where's my rhetoric? Logic. My rhetoric's 4. It's not that bad, actually. It's not that bad. And then my suggestion is a 3. Also, not that bad. Getting a phone call, but it doesn't say spam. Give me a second. Why don't you? Give me one moment. I thought it might be important because normally when I get phone calls it says spam, and then I was like, oh no, it didn't say spam. It might be important, but it was spam. Yeah, that was it. So anyhow, let me tell you this thing. You are a meat popsicle. The tie. Well, no. The tie has get. I feel like the advice to go dancing is good advice. I'm going to believe that I should go dancing. Disco Elysium. Plur. I see you, Roller. You saw what I was talking about. You saw what I was talking about. Let's see. VO says, I'm sure there's something that TOS about you don't actually own it, but the actual button says buy, not lease or rent, but buy. So I don't know. There's almost definitely could be legal action over it. Oh, that's a really interesting point. Yeah. And Krellin notes that terms of service are virtually unenforceable, by the way. Yes, I just think it's a way to sort of try to stop you from doing anything. By the way, when the court kicks up something, let me know if that's really interesting. B-Right says, apparently they have seen since the Discovery content removal plan for the 31st of December is no longer occurring, thanks to updated licensing agreements. Carcinization, bitches! I don't understand half of what's going on here. Well, there's a lot of politics, but it's politics in a different universe, you know? This game is really philosophical, political word soup sometimes. I think it all makes sense in world, it's just that we don't know what the world's politics are, necessarily. Yeah. Someone should invent a necktie that doesn't whisper things to me. I feel like it's fine. Yeah, they're not using that to make meth at all. Yeah, but what if they are using it to make meth, Vo? Zanzibar says, anything to do with the covered lab equipment behind them? Nope. Nothing to do with that. Nope. The game is super bonkers. Where's your
Somebody's watching
lunchbox?
me.
I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-ba-ba-bow. Thank you for that follow, Capives, 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 Capivas, Capives, 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 Capives. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. Thank you for the follow. Take off the tie. The tie's our friend. Maybe ditch the necktie if you want to be logical. I don't, super important question from Vo. Are you a Muppet of a man or a very manly Muppet? I'm a Muppet of a man, I think. Spam. So here's the question. Also, now that we bring this up, the tie that I'm wearing, you know, what does it do for me besides, hello, necktie? Look, it doesn't give me any negatives. As a matter of fact, great. I'm currently not wearing anything that lessens my imagination, so that's pretty good. And we're gonna talk to Estelle, and maybe
The shaggy-haired girl kneels on the sea ice. She looks up as you approach.
the answer is I'm going to feed cats
So you
now.
talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? With the
yeah, I'll help you
church,
all right.
I mean,
Yeah.
great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? We've been waiting for weeks here.
Well, the others told me you went inside the church. What did you see in there?
Oh, that.
Hmm?
You're not going to believe me. There's no point in me telling you.
But I want to know. The answer is I'm going to feed cats now. Trooper, what is your favorite adaptation of Dickens' Christmas Carol, and why is it the Muppets Christmas Carol? Cap Pies, hi, I love your pronunciation. Thank you. Well, you got to try to get it right or get it really wrong, one way or the other. My favorite Dickens' Christmas Carol. Huh. Jay Draper, who's a YouTuber who is a tour guide from London, just did a thing on a watch through of the Muppet Christmas Carol and how accurate or inaccurate it is historically, and said that, and also to the book, and said that it was actually pretty good. There were like maybe a couple things here or there. And she said this thing that in the Muppet Christmas Carol, they have a lot of, because Gonzo is a narrator, a lot of things that are from the book get to be in the Christmas Carol directly that are not in a lot of other adaptations. And so the cool language, etc. But one thing that was changed is that they don't have a Christmas pudding in the Muppet Christmas Carol, whereas in the Dickens, they have a Christmas pudding. And she says, I don't understand why they didn't have the Christmas pudding. And she's like, well, maybe it's because Americans wouldn't understand what a Christmas pudding is. She's like, but surely Americans know what Christmas puddings are. And I don't know and I was like, actually, I don't think we do. I don't know what a Christmas pudding is, actually. I don't know. I've never looked it up, and I've never looked up what one is. I've read about it. And of course, in that song, We Wish You a Merry Christmas, there's that bit, now bring us some figgy pudding and a Happy New Year, which seemed a little demanding. But I just assumed, I mean, I know what a chocolate pudding is. I don't know what a Christmas pudding is, if it's different from a regular pudding. I don't know what a figgy pudding is. I assume it's a pudding made of fig. But I actually have no idea. And so, actually, I assume they took it out because Americans have no idea what Christmas puddings are. Are they like a... Yeah, I don't know what a Christmas pudding is. It could be, like, because here's the thing. There's something called a blood pudding, which I think is just blood and gelatin. I'm not really quite certain how you make a blood pudding, but I know that there's a thing called blood pudding, which I think is just gelatinized blood, but maybe it's not. I don't know, actually. But so a Christmas pudding, I don't know if it's a meat pudding or if it's a regular pudding. Actually, I don't even really know how you make a pudding in real life. When I was a kid, we had pudding, but I don't know if that's a real pudding. It's like a box pudding. You like a pudding mix or whatever it was, and then, I don't know, you'd heat it up on you'd get the Jello brand pudding mixes in a box, and you'd like open up the box, you'd put it in the pan. I didn't remember if you put water or milk in, some kind of liquid, and then you would heat it up, and then, I don't know, would turn into pudding somehow, and then you would let it cool down, and then you would have pudding. So, actually, I have no idea what a Christmas pudding is. I don't know. That's the thing. Most versions cut off the narrator. Yeah, you don't have Christmas. No, we don't have Christmas pudding. There's like bread pudding. Yeah. There's also bread pudding. So I don't know if it's like a bread pudding or like a what kind of. No. What? Okay, hold on. No. Blood pudding is. Well, I don't know because I have no idea. Copy link address. What a Christmas pudding is. Like I have no idea. I really don't know what a Christmas pudding is now. But now I'm checking the link and I'm finding out. We might, but I don't know what it contains. The secret to the Muppet Christmas Carol is that Michael Caine put it so completely straight. Oh, yes, he does a good job. I'm Brazilian and I have no idea what it is either. See, Capives also doesn't know what a... By the way, Capives, you're from Brazil, and I know that Brazil has a really big tabletop RPG community. Like, it's a really big scene. I don't know if you play tabletop RPGs. Blood pudding is a sausage. It's a sausage. Okay. Blood pudding, also known as black pudding, is a blood sausage made with blood, fat, and oats barley. Ha! So it's blood, fat, oats, and barley in a sausage casing. Interesting. Seems like okay. The pudding in the US and pudding in the UK are two different things. Oh. Okay, hold on. Next time to talk about mincemeat and really... Okay, hold on. So, a Christmas pudding is a sweet dried fruit pudding traditionally served as part of Christmas dinner in Britain and other countries to which the tradition has been exported. It has its origins in medieval England, with early recipes making use of dried fruit suet. Suet? Is that like lard? Breadcrumbs, flour, eggs, and spice, along with liquid such as milk or fortified wine. Fortified wine, like Manischewitz? Fortified with what? Later, recipes became more elaborate. By 1845, cookery writer Eliza Acton wrote the first recipe for a dish actually called Christmas pudding. The dish is sometimes known as plum pudding. I love plums, though this can also refer to other kinds of boiled pudding involving dried fruit. The word plum was used then for what has been called a raisin. Oh, so it's not a plum pudding, it's a raisin pudding, since the 18th century, and the pudding does not, in fact, contain plums in the modern sense of the word. Well, that's a bummer, because I do like plums. A traditional boiled bag Christmas pudding. Okay, wait, okay, hold on. A Christmas puddings are often dried out on hooks for weeks prior to serving in order to enhance the flavor. This pudding has been prepared with a traditional cloth rather than a basin. Huh. So, I'm looking at pictures of it, and it is still a little bit unclear to me what it is. It's still unclear to me what it is. Okay. Oh, wait, we're getting recipes. Okay, this is good. Mincemeat is... That wee picture is terrible, by the way. Okay, because I'm like, what is that? Copy link address. Let's see. Capive says, I guess it does, but I don't really play, mostly because none of my friends do. But I would like to play, though. Yeah, because I hear there's some, like, really good Brazilian TTRPGs. Tormenta, I've heard is really big there, but I've never played it, and it's not yet translated into English, which is a bummer. So I would love to play some Brazilian TTRPGs. But there's a guy on Twitter who I hope I've saved the page somewhere, who is like an indie game designer from Brazil, and he makes a bunch of RPGs, really little tiny ones, and I think some of his stuff is translated. I hope I saved the link. I hope I did not close down the tab. Let's see. Here's a better one. I guess it does, but I don't really. Christmas pudding is often soaked in brandy and set on fire, though that's not always a thing. Huh. Not the fruitcake. Fortified wine means like port or sherry or brandy. Wait, I have a question. What is it fortified with? Right? So what makes a brandy different from a sherry? I need to know more things. This is clearly a problem that I don't know more things. Pudding can generally refer to the sweet final course of a meal, what Americans know as dessert. Because in the UK, this has class implications. Nancy Mitford, in a famous essay comparing the speech of upper-class Britons with everyone else, categorized pudding as used by the elite and sweet as used by the proletariat. A pudding can also be a specific dish. Wait. Oh. Okay. So the UK elite use the word pudding to mean dessert. All right. Okay. I get that. I say Cece. Okay. I see. Interesting. So we're like, oh, are you going to have... So, okay. A pudding can also be a specific dish, and a British pudding isn't the same as an American one. American puddings are closer to what the Brits would call a custard. Ah, but I thought a custard and a pudding were different, because I thought a custard was different than a pudding. Well, apparently it's closer. A British pudding is a dish, savory or sweet, that's cooked by being boiled or steamed in something, a dish, a piece of cloth, or even animal intestine. The earliest puddings in this sense of the word were sausages. So a pudding is also a sausage. Or no, a sausage is also a pudding. Black pudding, a type of sausage made with pig's blood, is sometimes included in a traditional English breakfast. Other puddings are sweet, such as spotted dick, a sort of steamed cake with currants that's barely sweet and, like many puddings, flavored with suet or beef fat rather than butter. Jam roly-poly, or roly-poly pudding, is traditionally steamed. It consists of a pastry made with suet, spread with jam, and rolled up. And just to make things a bit more confusing, some dishes are referred to as puddings that are sometimes baked, but were formerly boiled or steamed. The best example is a sticky toffee pudding, a date cake with caramel sauce that's traditionally steamed, but is now often baked. It also might be Canadian, not British. It's still pretty unclear to me what a pudding is. Like, okay. Trooper, ignore the boiled bag thing. That's a weird historical cuisine thing. I see a cooking strip. Yeah, probably. Gonna have to figure this out, right? It came from Guy Gax's kitchen. Volpa says, think of an English pudding as a cake. Okay. Instead of an American custard. So it's a boiled cake. It's a boiled or steamed cake. Sweet mincemeat, not meat. Isn't mincemeat like dates and fruits cut up? Isn't that what a mincemeat is? So I know there's like mincemeat pies. I've seen a mincemeat pie. Is it like dates and cherries and whatnot, like cut up and then put into a pie? Is that a mincemeat? Dates and cherries cut up? Currants? Maybe? Mincemeat in this context actually can mean mincemeat as in mince pies, right? It's like dates, right? Like dates and raisins and cut up. Suet is beef fat. I think the fortified bit refers to it being high alcohol content. Oh. All right. So, by the way, we're learning today. Rissa says from Wikipedia, fortified wine is a wine to which a distilled spirit, usually brandy, has been added. So then brandy is not a fortified wine, it's different. In the course of some centuries, winemakers have developed many different styles of fortified wine, including port, sherry, Madeira, Masala, Commandaria wine, and the aromatized wine vermouth. Wait, vermouth is a wine? I didn't know that. Okay, you put custard on pudding. So you put pudding on pudding. Okay, this is, there's a lot going on here right now. VO says, Trooper, the use of the terms pudding, sweet, and dessert to refer to the course of a meal varies depending on class, region, and generation. Because of the American influence, younger generations just tend to use the term dessert. Okay, Vo, I have a follow-up question that I hope you can tell me. Maybe you already told me. Traditionally in the UK, who would have used the term dessert? Was there a class or an age? Was dessert, who used the word dessert? I know that we use it in the US, but who in the UK, did no one use it and then it became more popular because we use it? Or did somebody use it like of a certain class? Who would traditionally have used the term dessert? I expect the rest of today's stream will be food talk. I have a thought about food I have to tell you all. It's really important. Puddings were made in animal intestine stomachs until the invention of the pudding cloth. The pudding cloth. Excuse me for one moment. Pudding cloth. I'm going to do a search for pudding cloth. I imagine a pudding cloth, is it just like a cheesecloth? Or is it different from a cheesecloth? Organic unbleached cheesecloth. So when I do a search for pudding cloth, what I get is cheesecloth. So I'm going to assume that a pudding cloth is a cheesecloth, or they're more or less the same. Maybe. Maybe yes, maybe no. Because you make cheese with a cheesecloth. Maybe you also make a pudding. By the way, people from the UK who've had them, are they delicious? I need to know this. I feel like Christmas pudding evolved into the fruitcake tradition seen in America based on the ingredients. Oh. I have never made a fruitcake. I assumed that fruitcakes were baked. Are they not baked? Do we know? Are fruitcakes not baked? I thought they were baked. Now I need to know this. My brain is just going, Daddy's little baby loves Daddy's little baby loves shortening. Daddy's little baby loves shortening bread. Krillin, I'm with you. Also see Yorkshire pudding just to make things even more confusing. Yeah. I'm Canadian and that made no sense. My father loves plum pudding though. So, okay. There's a big Brazilian streamer that does tabletop cellbit. Oh! Capives, I know about cellbit for reasons that I'll tell you in like 4 seconds after I finish reading your comment. He's created the universe Ordem Paranormal, and is developing a game on Steam called Enigma do Medo. I have to tell you something about it. Blood pudding sounds disgusting, but I would try it. Yeah, I would try it. Like, it doesn't sound good, but I would try it because maybe it is really, really good. Okay, I have a list of things to talk to you about. Cake, schmaltz. I have to talk about cake and schmaltz, and then cellbit. Those are 3 things I need to talk to you about as I'm getting caught up. Don't even go there. We will lose him completely. Wait. Okay, now I'm going to have to find out what a Yorkshire pudding is. Yorkshire pudding. York. I hope it's not a Yorkshire. I've heard of Yorkshire pudding. I just don't know what it is, though. So, Yorkshire pudding is a baked pudding made from a batter of eggs, flour, and milk or water. Is it just like a bread roll? Yorkshire puddings are similar to Dutch baby pancakes and to popovers, an American light roll made from an egg batter. Oh, so it's like a popover. Okay. Okay. It's baked. All right, there are things I need to find out about. I think I need to make a Christmas pudding. Find out how to make one. I think I need to make one to see what it's like. That's what I feel like. The meat of the pie is minced then. Calzone Gollum got nothing on this pudding. I do know Yorkshire pudding, though. My grandma used to make it all the time. So sherry is fortified wine. So sherry is wine with brandy. Wait, vermouth is made from grapes. Huh. So it's, They put pudding on pudding for pudding. Pudding lore. Vo says, Trooper, in answer to your question about the use of the term dessert, hell if I know. It's just weird and complex and I have no clue. Because you never know, right? You can do a PhD thesis on this weird minutia, and I suspect people have. Actually, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure some linguists have done some really cool stuff with that. Okay, remember the things I need to tell you is about pie, cake, schmaltz, cellbit, and now, I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. So cake, schmaltz, cellbit, and linguists? I don't know. The word dessert emerged in the 17th century, derived from the French verb desservir, meaning to clear the table in English. Etiquette dictated that napkins and tablecloths be changed before the final course, which at the time was a delicate fruit course. Oh, that's interesting. Christmas pudding. Christmas pudding. Also, Enigma do Medo will have English translations. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to write it down. Do you know when it's coming out? Enigma do Medo. I like to support folks from all over the place. They are very nice, but really only at Christmas. Christmas puddings are great. Very rich and often served with brandy cream or brandy butter or just brandy. Very rich, though. You'll give yourself the squits if you eat it every day. All right, all right. Cellibate cakes something. They're usually baked, but the combination of fruits, nut, and cake dessert often with some sort of alcohol. Popovers are American? Apparently. It says a popover is a light roll made from an egg batter similar to that of a Yorkshire pudding, typically baked in muffin tins or decorated or dedicated popover pans, which have straight-walled sides rather than angled. Popovers may be served either as a sweet topped with fruit and whipped cream, or butter and jam for breakfast, or with afternoon tea, or with meats at lunch and dinner. They're also known as Laplanders. The popover is an American version of the Yorkshire pudding and similar batter puddings made in England since the 17th century. And the oldest known reference to popovers is 1850. The first cookbook to print a recipe for popovers was in 1876. I feel like I've got... Okay, I'm going to write down things that I need to think about making. Popovers, I've never had any. Never had them. Popovers, Christmas pudding. I don't know what they're like, but I should try one. Okay. It's like a fried dough cooked in very hot fat. Dutch pancakes are like giant popovers. We asked for Christmas breakfast this year. Ooh. Yorkshire pudding is a cup-shaped savory thing that's served with a roast dinner. This gives me a thought. The pudding lord just keeps expanding. That's what I'm saying. There's no date yet, but I think it will come next year or 2025. Yeah, Yorkies and popovers are very similar. Yorkies are served savory. Zanzibar says, my mom's side of the family used to make popovers for the holidays. B-Right says, Yorkshire puddings are part of the main course with meat, potato, vegetables, and gravy. Usually part of a Sunday roast, a special version of which is Christmas dinner. Okay, so I feel like I'm learning a lot of very exciting things, and I feel like there's some more things to learn right now. And one of the things I would like to ask is, tell me about your Sunday roast. I assume, I'm going to just guess. My guess is that in the UK, it is traditional to have a roast on Sundays. Is it like a pot roast, like a beef? Like what is your roast? And then how is Christmas different from other times? So in the US, I think it's pretty traditional to have a turkey or roast ham, baked ham, turkey or ham on Christmas. I think people like to have turkey on Christmas, but many people are like, well, we just had Thanksgiving 1 month earlier. We don't want to have turkey 2 times in a row. So I think many people would have turkey on Thanksgiving and then ham on Christmas. But my family did not want to have turkey twice, so they would do a lasagna, like a homemade lasagna. They would spend like all day on this lasagna. They would like start early in the day, like around noon or whatever, to start making this lasagna. And we would have a Christmas lasagna. And I'm going to tell you that Christmas lasagna was delicious, and I wish I knew how they made it, but they did not give me the recipe. But that's what we would have for Christmas. We'd have a big baked lasagna. I have a popover pan I need to pull out and use. The popover pan? I want to clarify, by gravy, we don't mean that white abomination you Yanks eat. Well, though, that's only one kind of gravy. That is specifically biscuits and gravy, which is a different thing altogether. We have like a bunch of different kinds of gravy. Like we have like turkey gravy, chicken gravy, beef gravy. So we have different color gravies. The white gravy you're thinking about is specifically for biscuits, and by that we mean, I think you call them scones. We call scones something different. I don't know what you call what we call scones. What we call biscuits, you call cookies. What we call scones and biscuits are not the same, though. So I don't know. Actually, I don't think you have biscuits, right? I don't think you have American-style biscuits. That is my understanding, is that what you don't have American style biscuits. Maybe you do. Do you have American style biscuits? I thought you didn't. Maybe you do. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I think having them like American biscuits or dinner rolls. Yes, I think I should make some. Yeah, roast dinner at Sunday's church after church is traditional. We have both white gravy and brown gravy. It's true. That's something very different. Turkey is very expensive, I understand, in the UK. Roast potatoes, roast whatever meat you're having. Gravy made with meat, juices, and vegetables. Yes, we have that kind of gravy. Sunday roast is usually one of pork, beef, lamb, or gammon. Gammon. Is gammon a form of sheep? It can be chicken or turkey. Turkey is usually part of Christmas with sage and onion stuffing. Ooh, that sounds very good. Sometimes there's also roast pork or ham. If you want a lasagna recipe, let me know. Oh, if you have a really good lasagna recipe, share it. Okay, so clear this up for me. Biscuits are like savory scones, right? They're different though. Like a scone is denser than a biscuit. They have a different texture. They taste different. For us, a scone is, yeah, scones are different. They have a different shape and a different texture, different vibe. For us, a scone and a biscuit are different. Biscuits are savory though. They're not sweet. Yeah. Red eye gravy. Yep. Many times we would have goose for Christmas. Oh, yeah, since we were raised Canadian geese on the farm growing up. Oh, yeah, goose is a good one for Christmas as well. In Brazil, we also do Christmas lasagna. Nice! Turkey or chicken and pork loin are also common. Yes. American biscuits are nothing like scones. There's nothing really like American biscuits outside the US. Oh, but biscuits are so good. And there are different styles of biscuit. Like you can have a drop biscuit or like a folded buttermilk. Buttermilk biscuits are so good. I'm going to make buttermilk biscuits. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. Scone is probably the closest equivalent, but they're so different though. I don't think we have American biscuits. No, I don't think so. Scones are the closest, but no, they're not the same as scones. Scones are way heavier than biscuits, so yeah, they are. Scones are quite heavy, right? And biscuits should be light. Oh, man. So, B-Right says, as Vo says, the meat is accompanied by roast potatoes, sometimes boiled potatoes, peas, carrots, parsnips, maybe turnips. Christmas includes Brussels sprouts and pigs in blankets, which is actually bacon wrapped around a small sausage. Oh, pigs in blankets in the U.S. is like dough wrapped around a hot dog. So for us, the blanket is not bacon. It's like a dough, baked dough. This, yeah. This is what I mean. Gammon is pork, but not smoked like a ham. Oh. Huh. So, Volpez, I have heard the word gammon before, but it's not a word that I interact with often. Like when I say I've heard it before, I mean, I read a lot of Dickens growing up as a kid, so I'm sure I saw it in a book. But that is not a word that I have seen out and about a lot. Now, it might be out and about in the US, but I just haven't seen it. But we would usually have things like pulled pork, pork shoulder, pork chops, lamb chops. Yeah, so I feel like I do not see the word gammon being used for food that often. I see pork and lamb. Lamb is different, but pork loin. I see pork used more than I see. Yeah. That's interesting to me. Personally hate Brussels sprouts, but yeah. Though I also don't like Brussels sprouts, but I had them once. One time I had them when they were good. Otherwise, not so much. Capive says, it's cool how there are so many people from different places in the chat. Right? It makes me so happy. I think that's so good. You know, Capive, I grew up in California where we didn't really have a lot of Brazilian food, at least when I was growing up. But over here on the East Coast, I'm in the Boston area, and there are a lot of Brazilian places around here. And there's some delicious food. Like a lot of the places we have around here, Brazilian food are like meat. like a lot of meat. But there was this one place that does breakfast. They have this what's it called? It's like a, I'm gonna give a word that's the wrong word, right? It's like a Francisco, but it's not. That's wrong. But it's close to that. But it's like a sandwich. It's like a Brazilian sandwich, and I think it starts with FRA. Something, but it's this Brazilian sandwich, and it has like a sauce on it. It's delicious, by the way. It is so good. Yeah, so good. Try them roasted with balsamic vinegar. Huh. Okay. The US version is more like a sausage roll in the UK. Oh. Gammon is typically cured glazed pig meat. Like if you ask for gammon at a butcher, they probably have it. Oh, interesting. Think braised pork shanks, German style, only roasted instead. Oh, nice, nice, nice. No, I think it starts with an FA. It's like a Francesinha or something like this. Hold on. Maybe I can find it. I don't know if they still have it. Hold on, hold on. Menus. Lunch, maybe? The problem is the one place that used to sell it, I think they got sold. And so I think that no. Yeah, there's this little place, and it was owned by these Brazilian folks, this Brazilian family, and I think it got bought out, and I think it's no longer that place anymore, so they don't have those sandwiches, but they were so good. It's like a it's like a Francesinha. It's something like this. I cannot remember what it's called, but it was really, really good. It was like a sandwich that had like an egg, maybe meat, and had like this really nice sauce on it. It's very good. There's so much better versions of Brassica oleracea than Brussels. No, it wasn't Faropia. Gammon is also a pejorative term for middle-aged racist white men. Oh, I didn't know that. If you ever go to Brazil, go to Minas Gerais ou Bahia, the best food in the country. Rio Grande do Sul has good barbecue, though. Ooh. Capives, when I teach a class on the Jazz Age in the 1930s, and each week's a different city around the world because it's the International Jazz Age, and I do a week on Sao Paulo, so it's about Brazil. I do a week on the Jazz Age Brazil, and we play a bunch of music, but I also have them watch movies, and I do not do a movie every week because no one has time for that. But I do have the film Tango in New York with what's his name? Famous star in Brazil, famous tango guy, singer. Hold on. It's like he's very famous, and I'm embarrassed I cannot remember his name right now. He's like black hair, slicked back, very womanizer. Hold on. No, that's a book. Hold on. This is going to make me insane. It was actually really hard for me to find this film. Carlos Gardel, that's his name. Carlos Gardel. That was the guy. So he was in this film Tango in New York, and I play it I have my students watch it, and it's really fun because it's about oh, actually, no, he's not Brazilian. He's from Argentina. Except, yeah, he's Argentinian, and he's actually was born in France. But not the point. Yes. So anyhow, he's Argentinian. Who I talk about fishing. Hold on. For Brazil, I talk about fishing in the los oitos batutas and fishing quinoa. Pardon me for butchering the name, but we talk about the machixe and the Brazilian tango and sort of like that particular sort of moment in the 30s. Just very good. So I have things written down
She's
to tell you
less
about.
prone to blurt it out, crab man, than the others.
We'll see. Go ahead and tell me.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. Noid calls it a mainframe.
Mm-hmm.
She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still.
Go on.
And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall, upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He was completely silent.
Creepy.
He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that, looking at me, right at me. I fucking turned around and walked out. End of story.
That's pretty creepy.
Like a crab, you say?
What did this crab man look like?
It was too dark. I couldn't tell exactly.
You were wrong. I do believe you.
Why?
Well, strange things happen.
Okay then. They certainly do around me.
I'd like to know more about your associates.
Name
My
game.
associates? I haven't got much to say about them.
The name game. Come on, everybody. I say now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. Or an M will appear. And then I say boo at a B, then I say the name, and banana, fenner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F very plain, and a V, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Capives, 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 boba pives, banana, fenner, fofa pives, fi, fi, moma pives. Capives, the name game. Thank you for subbing with your Prime. That's awesome. Thank you. Yay! It's good to dance to, right? Yes. So, what do you mean? You must know something about them.
Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
That's
To the
fair.
cops.
Okay, well, what about you? Tell me something about yourself.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a silver bird.
Aha, okay. Maybe I'll ask later about all this.
Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but
You know. I have a really hard chance, but I'm gonna try. Maybe I'll roll
The
well.
device is cold to the touch. An angular
Nope.
Omicron logo adorns the yellow plastic cover. Underneath, you see a reel of tape rolling.
I'm gonna need more empathy later. It's fine. So, Mod Podge applied. Now it can relax the all. Nice. So, cellbit. I know about cellbit mainly because I do this thing where I do a lot of research on streaming, role-playing games and streaming. I try to do data. I do data analysis, you know, and people say a lot of things about streams, and many of them are just wrong because they don't actually look into anything. They just assume things without looking them up, and so I look things up. And cellbit is the top ranked streamer in the tabletop RPG category. Generally speaking, like he usually is. Like, I mean, maybe sometimes somebody might overtake him. But generally speaking, Cellbit is the number one. You feel the shadow of a very large building fall on me. Number one streamer, and I don't. He also has more followers than Critical Role by a lot, and I actually think he beat Critical Role in terms of numbers this last year for 2023. I haven't done my analysis yet because I'm waiting for the year to end, and then I'm going to do my analysis on how everything is going. But he is like up there with Critical Role, and I think he actually beat them this year in terms of numbers. But he's like a big deal. He's like number one tabletop number one streamer under the tabletop RPG category. And the tabletop RPG category is really interesting because out of the top 10, the vast majority of those channels are not in English. It's super interesting. And so I don't speak Brazilian. I don't speak Brazilian Portuguese, sadly. But you know, I try to check in because I try to like keep my finger on what's happening in the world, and so that's very cool. Hey PB, how are you? Remember when he got 90K views on one? It's insane. Yeah, huge. Trooper, did your obsession with hard data on streaming start because of how wrong Zach? Yes, actually, Colonel, that is correct. This is correct. I know it's funny, but yes, actually, that is where it came from. Zach would say these things, and I was like, I don't think that's true. And he'd say, well, like, I know. And I was like, And so I looked things up, and I was like, yeah, it turns out that is not true. Yes, and it was, that started it, but it didn't spur me on until somebody was like, oh, I'm such a failure. I only have, like, 50 average viewers. I'm such a failure. And I was like, well, I don't know. Hold on, right? So I looked and I was like, yeah, nope, 50 is really good, actually. That's it's really good. So it started with Zach saying things. I was like, I don't think that's true. But I had to like actually look at the data, and it was not true. PB says, I didn't know he did TTRPG streams. Only ever saw his Minecraft streams. Ah. Hold on. Let me look at something. I'm going to look it up for you. Well, you know, here's the thing. 85% of Twitch streamers are neither affiliated nor partnered. More or less, right? So it's about 15, 14% of streamers are affiliated, and for that you need an average of 3 viewers over 30 days and 50 followers. And 85% of the streamers cannot make those numbers. And if you're getting 3, you're in the top 15%. And people do not people think that average is way more than it is. And hold on, I'm looking for something else. Let me just double check. So, looking at most watched. Hey everybody, guess what? Very interesting. Somebody beat Cellbit on the tabletop RPGs category for the last 365 days. It's not the full year yet, right? But for the last 365 days, somebody beat Cellbit. Cellbit has been number 1 since I've been looking at this data for the last 5 years or so. So Cellbit has always been number 1, but somebody beat Cellbit. And who beat Cellbit? Somebody named Kaisen, K4SEN, who's Japanese, who streams in the Japanese language. And Kaisen, wow. Okay, I'm gonna tell you all something. Are you ready for this? You may not find this interesting, but I do. So, Critical Role has 4.7 million hours of watch time. So they are far and away outpacing everybody at the moment. So they're beating everybody. Kaysen has 1.9 million hours of watch time, which means that Kaysen is number 2. If you combine the two categories, because Critical Role is on the Dungeons and Dragons category, they're on both categories. But Critical Role has streamed 519 hours of. I need my. Hold on. Let me get my calculator out. 4745337. Wait. Sorry. I'm going to have to clear that because let me add these things together. This is very interesting. Minecraft streamers are funny because he actually didn't play that game for ages, but he got popular out of Brazil because of it. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like a lot of CR's viewers don't watch them live. That's probably true, and if they don't watch them live, then they don't count. Yeah, I only heard of him this year because of that multi-language server Quackity set up this year. It's always fun to hear where streamers come from. Oh, yeah. Is that watch time only on TTRPG or overall? Only on TTRPG. So one of the things that I do when I do my data crunching, which you can't get anywhere else but from me, it's just that it takes a while to do it, is that everything is done by category. And what I do is I take all of the categories that are tabletop RPG categories, and I look at them separately, but then also I combine them into one big massive category, and then I have to redo averages and all of that so you can find out everything all together. And I've been working really hard this last in the lead up to this year, in the lead up to sort of like check out all the different categories. Like, okay, so what are the different categories that people stream tabletop RPGs on? Let me check them out so I can add that data in as well, so I can get the best all around. Do those numbers count YouTube or only live? If it's not live, it doesn't get counted. YouTube has its own metrics, so you would look at YouTube for different stuff. Yeah, at this point, a large chunk of their viewer base isn't on live anymore. Yeah, pretty sure that stats Trooper look at are Twitch specifics. They definitely don't include YouTube. No, YouTube would be different stuff. With YouTube, it's watch hours for the YouTube video. That would be a different thing to do. And the thing is, not everybody has YouTubes, so that's like a whole nother thing altogether. So let me. Where did I put that? Okay, I'm gonna do a thing, and this is the reason why I'm gonna do this is because of a thing that I saw that is pretty outrageous. But so Critical Role has 4,745,337 watch hours under Dungeons and Dragons, but then it also has the #1 English language stream under tabletop RPGs is Critical Role. For their Candela Obscura. No, because actually there's a Candela Obscura category. So this is for their non-Candela Obscura, non-Dungeons & Dragons stuff, but they've got, let's say, plus 224, 315. So they have 4.9 million watch hours. Now I'm going to divide that by how many hours they've streamed. So 38 there and 519. So that's 549, 557. 557 hours, 557. So I'm going to write this down. 8922. So Critical Role averages 8,922 view hours per hour. Right? So per hour that they stream, they have an average of 8,922 watches. That makes sense to me. Don't worry about it. I do have some linger topics, but I wrote them down. A bit of cellbit lore. He was one of the biggest gaming YouTubers in Brazil. Oh, started there when he was 14, but mainly does stuff on Twitch for a couple of years now. Interesting. Capives, this is good stuff to know. I want you to know I'm watching this wearing a t-shirt that says lactose intolerant. I tolerate people without toes. That's really good. I would be curious of the viewer base of the non-CR streamers and categories outside of TTRPGs compared to the in the TTRPG category. Say more about that, Zanzibar. Do you mean you're curious about viewers who watch like Minecraft or Fortnite versus people who watch? Clarify your statement, because I may have an answer, but not if it's about like Minecraft. So, Kaysen has 1.911131 1,900,000 watch hours and did 130 stream hours. So Kaysen has 14,701. That's the ratio of like watch time hours versus how many hours they streamed, which is better than Critical Role. Now check this out. Cellbit, who came in number 2 this year, has 1,533. Let me see that. 1,533 and 23 hours of watch time, but only streamed 12 hours of RPGs this last year. So he's getting an average of 127,751 watch time hours per hours of stream versus Critical Role's 8,922 watch time hours per hour of stream. So that's just amazing. And also, Cellbit has 3.2 million followers. Critical Role has 1.3 million followers. So Cellbit has almost 3 times as many followers as Critical Role. Critical Role's average viewers last year is 9,143 under Dungeons & Dragons. And Cellbit's average viewer count under Tabletop RPGs is 122,642 average viewers. So that's like an order of magnitude more than 10 times as many average viewers Cellbit has versus Critical Role. And Critical Role's peak viewers last year was 38,295, whereas Cellbit's peak viewers was 196,242. So Cellbit is doing very well. Cellbit is like the number 1 for average viewers and peak viewers in the Tabletop RPGs category and is beating Critical Role on those 2 metrics. Yeah, so Cellbit beats Critical Role in peak viewers, average viewers, followers, not on watch time, but also Cellbit only streamed for 12 hours last year, and Critical Role has streamed for 500 hours. So just noting that. Also, in case you care, in the top 10 for the in the top 10 for Dungeons and Dragons, Critical Role, Brett Ultimus, they're all in out of the top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of the top 10 in Dungeons and Dragons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them, 6 out of 10 are in English. The others are German, Portuguese, and French. No. German, and Portuguese. Pato papau. So 4 out of the 10 are not in English. 3 of them are German. 1 of them is Portuguese. The rest are English. But in the Tabletop RPGs category, out of the top 10, 2 are English. Although it's interesting because Cellbit used to be under Portuguese, but now he's listed as being under English, which would make 3 out of 7. But that's interesting because he used to stream only in Portuguese. But if you look at the top 10, you've got Japanese, French, German, Portuguese, English, French, French. So what I find really interesting is that the tabletop RPGs category is way more diverse in terms of language than the Dungeons and Dragons category, which is not that diverse. The Dungeons and Dragons category is like overwhelmingly English by a lot. Whereas the tabletop category is English is number 1, has the most streams, although it's not in the top 10. But Portuguese is number 2. French comes in next, then Spanish, Japanese, Russian. But like it's actually like English is not the majority of the languages spoken under the tabletop RPGs category, which I think is like pretty neat. I think that's really cool. Whereas in Dungeons and Dragons, English is like the overwhelming majority. It looks like it's more than 3/4. Like maybe 80% is English-ish. I'm just sort of eyeballing it. Then Spanish, then Portuguese, German, Russian, right? But tabletop RPGs, maybe a third. Maybe a third is in English. Ish. A third-ish. About. I would maybe a little bit more than a third. Ish. I'm catching up on chat. Lactose intolerant. That's why CR is unique in its popularity. The majority of their streamed hours are TTRPG centric. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, did they bring views into TRPGs from other categories based on their previous viewership, or did they grow their audience independent of previous following? Oh, for Critical Role did not have... Critical Role has only streamed... Critical Role started streaming TTRPGs. But when it comes to non-TTRPG channels, what I can tell you is that there are... So how do I answer this question? This question is interesting, and I was looking into it because of a thing that people like to say. People like to say things like, oh, those popular people, they don't really count because they're not really TTRPG streamers. They really do something else. Except that when you look at a lot of people that people want to sort of dismiss, they have like over 100 hours streaming TTRPGs. So, but if you look at, let's see, the top 10 under Dungeons & Dragons, it's Critical Role, Brett Ultimus, who... Brett Ultimus streams a number of things, but the vast majority of his stream time is Dungeons & Dragons. By a lot, right? So he streamed 523 hours of Dungeons & Dragons, and the next category was World of Warcraft, which he did for 46 hours. So the vast majority of his viewership is, yeah, and it's where most of his viewers are, and overall. And then you've got Captain Robear, who's an RPG streamer and also sketchy. High Rollers D&D, it's a D&D channel. Ani the Duck. Ani the Duck does a lot of just chatting. And does more just chatting than Dungeons & Dragons, but not by a whole lot. Has done 145 hours of just chatting last year, but 137 hours of D&D. So that's like... They're a bit more of a variety streamer. They're a bit more balanced. And Ben and Paper sounds like I believe they're a RPG stream. Legends of Avantris is an RPG stream. Joe Fudge, I believe Joe Fudge does other things, but yeah, Joe Fudge does a bunch of stuff, does a lot of just chatting, but still has like 250 hours, 260 hours of D&D. So, the people who, and has way better average viewers. So, Yeah, a lot of people want to, like, I don't know, dismiss some of these other folks, but they're legit, you know? Yeah. Cellbit RPG is like a special event, absolutely. It's how they built their audience, carried over from GNS, absolutely. Cellbit speaks English, but he only started speaking in streams because of Minecraft. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. They must be insanely popular, really good then to have that much VOD viewership for only 12 hours. Yeah, they have like Cellbit's RPG audience is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I love when Twitter geeks about streaming stats. Look, I'm gonna do a whole stream about it. My goal, I've got these really great plans for this year, by the way. If I can get done what I want to get done, I want to do some new things that I've not done before that I'm very excited about sharing with you all. But I'm hoping I can get, I sometimes have some trouble. Selling Gnome sometimes gives me trouble, which is a bummer. And it's not just me. I think sometimes their data's a little bit hard to get access to everything. But if I can get all the access, if everything is fixed and I can get all the access from Selenium right away, I'll see if I can get all the numbers crunched for my January 4 stream. I can do like my personal numbers, but I can't do the full analysis, which I really want to do because I want to talk to you about what has happened. But I also want to do a qualitative analysis this year where I sort of look at the top 10 channels. Dusty pews in the shadows. Many seem to be missing. So I want to do more stuff, but it's tricky because not all the top channels have their VODs. Some of them are locked, so you can't check out their VODs. But I really want to go and look through all these categories. I want to do some qualitative analysis because there are these things that people say. They say things like, you can't become popular if you don't have a face cam and you're not in an in-person studio. But that's clearly not true because there are a number of streams that are in the top 10 that have no face cams, that are just Roll20 maps and minis. So I am really excited about doing some quantitative analysis in addition, but
Heavy
it'll depend
wooden
on.
doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood.
I have a little mouse wrist guard thing. You know, one of those things that helps protect your wrist so you don't collapse your wrist. And I always knock it off the desk. But I got it. I was distracted. I was like, I want it. All right, let's see. Capivia says, which I found weird because Brazilians don't usually speak English. It's like 3% of the entire country, but he still maintains local views. Oh, that's interesting. You're referring to the non-CR channels. Non-CR channels in the tabletop RPG scene or in other categories. So like a lot of them are TTRPG channels. Sometimes they have made their names in other areas, but what I have found is, like, there are a lot of people who are like, oh, all those big channels, they only got popular playing video games, and then they played video games, so they don't count. Well, but the people that I see that are in the top 20, they actually do spend a significant amount of time playing TTRPGs, even if they play other things as well. And quite often their viewership, they do pretty well. How popular is watching stream content on Twitch in Brazil? Well, that's a good question. Yeah. You could run Doom on 16 billion crabs. Fun fact, scientists have successfully built logic gates using swarms of crabs. That's so amazing. It is still a niche content, says Capives, but depends on what is streamed. CSGO, for example, is extremely popular. Huh. Well, let me look at this. Copy link address. I need to open up tab. You can run, oh my gosh. Nice. This year is only 3 days left, so you have to hurry. Well, I can't start until after the year ends. That's the thing. I have to wait until the year ends, and then I can do all of my data. And then so I can see how much I can do in 4 days. We will see. Also, hi, hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well. I'm doing very, very well, actually. Today's been a great day. I just, what did I even do? I don't think I did anything. I woke up, got out of bed, dragged a comb across my head. Found my way upstairs and had a smoke. Somebody spoke and I went into a dream. No, I think I just had a really chill, like I ordered groceries, which came in. Oh, I know what I did. Sorry. I was like, what did I do that made my day so good? I'm here streaming. I went and I changed, I went and I shaved, straight razor, and I changed the shape of my facial hair. Wait. Right? I changed, so I went like you can't tell because I've brushed my mustache down, but I also disconnected my mustache from the beard so that when I wax my mustache up, there'll be a separation, which will look better. So I went and I did a lot of really nice sort of detail work on my facial hair today, and I shaved my head. So I'm feeling really fine. How are you doing, PB? What are you up to? Zanzibar says, to be fair, CR got a huge boost from the way GNS showrunners managed to get them on Twitch front page. Yes, especially back when there was a more significant factor. Absolutely. Almost every week from us. Apparently that was a mistake. Apparently that was an error. That on top of good content made a hit. Yes, I mean, Zanzibar, that is absolutely 100% true. But apparently it was a mistake. That was the legendary money back then. Hey, Howie Roll, how are you doing? How are you doing? What are you up to? That and Sweat Off Zach's back. Apparently it was an accident, the front page. That it wasn't supposed to be that way, but then it somehow was. Kapiva says, also, what is the normal stream schedule? Really happy I found your stream. I can see you have an awesome community. Oh, thank you. So I stream Thursdays starting at 6-ish Eastern. I play something on my computer, which is right now we're doing Disco Elysium. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern, I run a tabletop role-playing game on my channel. And then Saturdays at noon, I run something for my PS4, and right now we're doing Rain World. Although this Saturday, I will not be streaming at noon, Rain World. I'll be doing a tabletop RPG at 2 p.m. We'll be doing part 2 of The Twilight Road. So basically every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is when I stream. Unless I have to go to a conference or something. Given the mass disparity between CR success and Hyper RPG success, I think attributing large amounts of their success to Zach seems incorrect. You extended the smooch space? Which yes. Thursday, yeah. How have I never seen that tattoo? Because you've been avoiding me. Well, actually, headphones, that makes sense, yeah. Is there a story to it? There is. It was a happy accident. Thanks for asking. I'm flipping fantastic. Currently sitting in my new house, unpacking boxes. Life is good. How about you? Beard looks clean. Thank you. And I did a little, when I broke my mustache. I have a little mustache brush, and it fell and it broke. So I need to get a new mustache brush. It's a little sad. I have a beard brush and I have also a mustache brush, but it broke. Tell me about your new house. That seems amazing. Yeah. So, by the way, let's inspect the carpentry.
The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. 2 large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold.
Gonna run my hand over a beam.
The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch.
I'm gonna take a closer look at the padlock.
This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow.
I'm gonna look at the sticker.
You see a yellow circle with 2 X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but What the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead.
Fair.
There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before.
Oh, is it because I'm an art cop? Huh. What makes it so modern?
It's the contrast between the cheery, chemical yellow and the rigor mortis. As if the cheery guy didn't know he was dead, or the dead guy didn't care that he was. Either way, you get the sense the forces of future are at work here.
That may be for CR, but I see a number of creators that got their start working there during that time that might not have otherwise as a job done well enough. Absolutely. Of course, there is such a huge gap, though, between... So here's Zanzibar. Here's the funny thing, right? There are these two things you have to... One should hold at the same time, right? Captain says, are mustache beard brushes any good? I use a regular one. Oh, they're... beard brushes have are made slightly differently so that they are... Because, like, you don't, like... beard hair is different hair than the hair on your head. So I think that if they're used for, like, they're not going to be as damaging. I also have a beard comb. It's made out of wood. So, like, if you have, like, a wooden comb, that's good for your beard because it won't mess it up. So... you know what? Beard brush kind of looks like a shoe brush, like a shoe shine brush, but it's got sort of slightly different bristles. They're good. They're good. I appreciate them. So, so here it's our first home. Nice. Back where we grew up on the coast. Finally back after over a decade away, happily back in a quaint Irish village on the west coast. Oh, that must be really nice. Isn't that where Irish Gaelic is spoken in higher percentages? I was told that the counties where Gaelic is still spoken at, like, in really high numbers is on the west coast. These beard comb is not brushes personally, but mine is very long now. So there are two things to hold in one's mind at the same time. And that is that the people who came out of... Many people are much, much smaller, not nearly as successful as Critical Role, right? That Critical Role is way more successful than anybody else who's come out of Geek and Sundry. However, so that is true, right? However, those people that came out of Geek and Sundry are still super successful when you look at everybody else, because Critical Role is just a massive outlier. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really good to it's not really great to set up Critical Role as the expectation of what is normal success, because they're not normal success, right? Coming out of, like, so Critical Role, right, is the #1 channel under Dungeons and Dragons, and they have 4.7 million watch hours, right? By the way, that's #1 out of 17,000 entries, which is not very good. So 4.7 million, #1 out of 19,000. #2 has 416,000 watch hours. So a tenth, less than a tenth, right? So the gap between 1 and 2 is an order of magnitude, right? They're an order of magnitude bigger than #2. So it's one of those things where you can recognize that people that come out of Critical Role are not as big as Critical Role, Geek and Sundry. But that doesn't mean they're not really good, right? Because Critical Role is just a weird freak outlier. And if the #2 is, you know, a tenth of their viewership, the people who came out of there may not be as big as they are, but they're probably still top of the top if you take Critical Role out of the equation. You just take them out, right? then you get much better and more normal averages, and then they're doing amazingly well, right? So it's like one of those things to hold both of those things in your mind at the same time, that to recognize that, and it's the same thing with Dungeons and Dragons as a game. Dungeons and Dragons has 90% of the market. So Dungeons and Dragons is way bigger than anyone else by a lot. And no one is as big as D&D. And no one can really compete with D&D at this point in time, at this moment in history. But if you take D&D out, a lot of these other games are doing really well. You know, if you basically don't compare yourself to the outliers, what I'm trying to say, right? Like that it doesn't make a lot of sense to compare yourself to the outlier because they are so far and away, like they're just in a different category is what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly, says Zanzibar. Howie Roll says, correct. There is 3 to 5 Gaeltacht areas where Irish is spoken as a first language. 2 of them are an hour south of us and an hour north of us, not where we are. Yeah, CR is an extreme exception to the rule, just as Dungeons and Dragons is, right? Howie Roll says, but you're 100% correct. Oh, see, I knew it. Oh, thank you, 15. You also can't really compare Geek and Sentry to other streamers. This is true, as they had very large amounts of corporate money behind them that isn't there anymore. Yes, that's also true. That is also really true, right? And also, even before Geek and Sentry got that corporate money, when it was just Felicia Day was known from television, right? And she'd built up her YouTube channel, right? So when she came into Twitch streaming, she brought in a huge audience with her already, because she was part of that scene. So it's just it's not really useful, I don't think, to compare yourself to outliers, right? I think it just makes you feel bad about yourself when probably, which by the way was the whole reason why I did all this hard data crunching in the first place. The whole reason why I did this hard data crunching in the first place is because people were like, oh no, I'm not doing well. It's like, actually, you're doing very, very well. But I'm not doing well as Critical Role. Nobody is. Like, that is not the person you should compare yourself to. Do not compare yourself to Critical Role because they're not a good comparison point, right? Was basically where that came from. Also, Matt Mercer brought a falling outside of GNS. Absolutely. But I think really, you could say Matt Mercer, but I think it was really somebody like Laura Bailey, who is pretty big. I think Laura Bailey is probably the most famous of those voice actors in voice acting spaces, right? Yeah. They already had a lot of fans from VO work that did in video games. Absolutely. Howie Roll says, Bill Gates and Bezos don't make other CEOs failures by comparison, for example. Yes, although sometimes people think so, but that's not a good way to think. Zanzibar says, I'm more thinking of the individual creators that we have in this space because they got an opportunity to get their names out there. Yeah. Capiva says, I only learned more of D&D this year because of Baldur's Gate 3. So the game brought even more eyes to the franchise. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that I think has always been the case. A lot of people learned about D&D back in the day because of the old Baldur's Gate games, right? Or the books. Gun says, like when all the MMOs tried to be WoW when they should have been aiming for like EverQuest, right? Or Sea of Heroes. Yes, you can't compare to WoW. And it's because it's lightning in a bottle. Sometimes these things just happen in really weird ways and you don't exactly know how or why. It just does. You know what I mean? It's not really replicable, not even by them. Critical Role isn't even Critical Role, right? Like when Critical Role does non-D&D stuff, those views are not as good. They're just not. Speaking of which, now you maybe wonder, I have to look it up. Hold on. Now you maybe look, and I will talk about this when I do all my number crunching. Speaking of which, I've got a couple of grades I have to do. Candela Obscura. Hey, Candela Obscura. How are you doing? So, here's something very interesting for those who care about nerdy stuff. So, Critical Role, D&D. Average viewers, 9,143. Peak viewers, 38,000. Average watch time, 4.7 million, right? Under the tabletop RPGs category, which is not Candela Obscura, it's all the stuff they've done that is not Candela Obscura, right? They have 6,300 average viewers, 28,000 peak, and 29,000 peak, and 243,000 watch hours. Now, if we go to Candela Obscura, which is a category, they have 2,752 average viewers, which is better than a lot of people, but still, right? 10,000 peak viewers and 172 watch hours. And they've streamed Candela Obscura for 62 hours. But, yeah, so... I'm just saying, when they do non-D&D, they cannot match their D&D numbers. Lindy! Hey, Lindy! Let me see. Laura is the voice of Chin-Chan. I have to talk our GM and podcast crew down in a similar way. Oh, I'm glad that you can. We are doing well, but not when compared against professional actors who don't have 40-hour other jobs. How we roll, but your podcast is so cool. But also, it's really important not to compare yourself to outliers, right? With corporate money or who are full-time Hollywood people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not, it's not fair. It's not fair to yourself, because what I find is that if you actually look at the numbers, I don't know the podcast numbers, so I can't say, but I know that I am in the top 2% of TTRPG streamers. And I don't seem that impressive, and it would be easy for me to be like, oh, I'm such a small streamer, and oh, I'm a failure, and oh no, I could be so sad, right? I could do that. I could be very sad about myself and think that my life is like terrible, but I'm in the top 2%, and I can actually give better numbers when I actually get all the stuff. But I can tell you that for the last 365 days, my average viewer count is 23. Which, think about that for a moment, right? That my average viewer count is 23, and that puts me in the top 2% of TTRPG streamers. And a lot of people who are sitting around with like my numbers, who don't know what the statistics are, think, oh no, I'm a failure. I'm the worst. Why am I even doing this? Oh no, I'm so bad. But like top 2%, do you know what I mean? Like, that's really good. And I just think that people, they really are, the goalposts are just the wrong goalposts. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're looking at the wrong things. And so they think they're not doing well when they're doing really well. It's just that this isn't, and it's, yeah, that's all I'm saying, is that I think that people should be less harsh on themselves. They should be less harsh on themselves, because they're probably doing much better than they think they are, and they should stop comparing themselves with like the top 0.5%. 0.5%. That's all. That's all I'm saying. How we roll. How we roll. You just resubbed. I feel like you know what that means, though, right? One moment. Wait. I'm gonna sing, but I want to. By the way, I was randomly looking up California history. It's messed up, everybody. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Wait. Hold on. Wait, give me a second. Wait. Also, that last message came off like, no, wait. Actually, exactly. I mean, we've been super lucky. I mean, our podcast does well. It got me to LA and bought 10 of us recording equipment. Oh, that's great. We were on Dragon Talk in the D&D annual and on the D&D Channel's part of a launch event. These people still feel like we could do more. I mean, I suppose so, but you're probably doing really well, right? That's what I'm saying. I need to catch up because you guys all have really interesting things to say. Let's see. When Sierra does non-main campaign stuff, the numbers fall, even when it's still D&D. That's true. I'm just glad they got big enough to make the whole genre more mainstream. You know, Zanzibar, I'm going to say something, And this is something that I don't know how true what I'm going to say is. It's still not mainstream. Well, that I can actually say is true. I think when we talk about perspective again, people often don't so tabletop RPGs made $120 million, $110 million in 2022. I don't have the 2023 numbers yet because they're not out yet, but they made $110 million, of which 90% were Dungeons and Dragons. But the hobby games industry in general, which does not count Monopoly, those kind of like traditional board games, but the hobby games industry, which is miniatures, like Warhammer, nerdy board games, that kind of stuff, is Magic the Gathering, $2 billion, right? So it's over $2 billion a year. And out of that $2 billion, 110 million are tabletop role-playing games, all of them. And so tabletop role-playing games are such a small niche hobby. They're just not really that mainstream. They might be like, really, what makes money is the D&D movie. You know what I mean? And I think that we have to recognize how small our hobby is. Even if people talk about Dungeons and Dragons on TV more, it's still such a small hobby. And that's not bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not bad. It's just that it's still so small. We might think it's so big and everybody knows it, but it's so small. It's such a small little hobby. So even D&D, the big behemoth that it is still like small time. You know what I mean? And that's not an insult, right? It's just like, it's a small hobby. Yeah, one of the reasons I kept watching CR was Laura Bailey was the voice of Serena. Oh, from Skyrim? Yeah. We can renew this now. I have the mortgage approved. Good. It's glad to be back. Speaking of which, you hold on 1 second, because I actually had a thing that I was going to do right now, but I did want to check. See, I just remembered, but I wanted to check something first. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Are you ready? The name game. Come on, everybody. I say now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, more an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. How we roll Owen? How we roll Owen? How we rollin'? Bo, bow, we roll Owen. Banana, fan, fo, how, fo, fow, we roll Owen. Fee, fi, mo, mow, we roll Owen. How I roll Owen, the name game. Whew. Also, I know it's not exactly Owen. It's. I know that the vowels are a little bit different. Sorry about that. Still working on it. We're streaming RPG talk distraction point. Oh, Christmas pudding talk. Yes, I had a couple other things I want to say. We're very interested to see the comparison year to year of how they bump has trended. Oh, yeah, I'm so interested. And the things I'm wanting to get I have some older data, and I want to kind of go through and get as much of
Name
this done
game.
Over time, so we can like really control these things. I'm very excited. Watching Troy try and wrap his head around the idea of English pudding was wonderful. Yeah, I'm going to have to just make it so I can eat it and see what it's like. Using a separate category on Twitch often makes content less visible than more too. It's true. It's true. You do it for the fun of it. If that's not your goal, you're doing something wrong. Well, especially if your goal is to become famous like in Hollywood, when that will never happen. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just not realistic. I was floored last year when I found out I was in the top 20% of Skyrim streamers, and I barely get average 2 to... If you get 2 to 3, that's actually really good. And I know that may not seem really good, but 2 to 3 is really good. That's about average. You know what I mean? Like, that's actually really good. And again, oh, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Let me just look up something. One moment. KY Hawkeye. I'm looking you up. KY Hawkeye. You are I'm looking at you. You're an affiliate. You are affiliated. And as an affiliate, you're in the top 15% of all streamers on Twitch. Just thought I'd let you know that. Because only about 15%, 14-ish viewers, percent of the viewers on Twitch are affiliated. So you're in the top 15% of Twitch streamers. That's just a note. And I just thought you should know that because people don't know these things. Let's see. Often people want to use the goal of the goalpost of having it become a full-time job. Zanzibar, this is correct. When often that's not usually realistic. That is correct. That is correct, and that is also correct when you're talking about game design. Did you know that Fred Hicks, head of Evil Hat, I think just quit his part-time job, and many of these really big RPG companies that you can think about are not that big, have like maybe 3 full-time employees, and even the person who runs the company still has a part-time job for health insurance purposes, you know? So a lot of our big companies are still really quite small, and people don't really realize how small the scene is. They want this other thing, which is just, you know, we're very niche. I mean, all we do is make dodgy puns and penis jokes. Like all the others, it is all silly. No, it makes sense. It made me laugh. Well, I've always had a fantastic time playing with y'all. Yes. It's a shame D&D has moved from grassroots creators to more celebs, even though obviously it is a smarter business move. How we roll, here's my thought on that. I have a thought about that. I will tell you. Magic is still the money in the hobby of gaming. Absolutely it is. Why would that matter? Sierra made more people interested. Oh, sure, but it's never going to be soccer, you know? That hobby gaming number is 70%. Henry Cavill's art is, yes. Warhammer collection, absolutely. Termination Shock, yes. I should get to a safe point, you're right. The vowel at the start of the name always throws it. Yes. Good night, Vo. You got it. That's it. Okay, good. But I feel like I was listening to people from Ireland pronounce your name, and it's not Owen, which is how Americans say it. There's like the second vowel after the W sound, the W sound has a slight. I feel like I'm saying it like an American, and I feel like I could say it more properly. But if it was like, I have to like just practice, and then I'll get it better. Oh, gift sub. PB, I'm gonna sing you a song now, by the way. I need you to know that's what's gonna happen. Don't think people care about Hollywood that much. There are other places you can get your 15 minutes fame. Very true. I'm using, so there are a bunch of different sites that have data for Twitch. Twitch metrics, there's a bunch of them, but the best one, in my opinion, is Sullygnome, SULLYGNOME. Sullygnome is by far and away the best.com, the best one, and here's why. The other ones cut out a lot of really small streams, which will inflate your numbers some. And Sullygnome basically gets everything. So Sullygnome has like the best and the most complete numbers. And I use them I'll look at the other ones. The other ones are like, look, the other channels will say things like, the other ones make me look way better, and so I don't use those. If there's a Twitch metric site that makes me look like I'm in the top 10, then I don't use that site because Twitch Tracker's another one, actually. I mean, I look at them, I check them all out, but if I score too high, on any of those channels, then I don't use them because then I think they're bogus. So Sully Gnome, the most complete out of all of the trackers that I've looked at. And I am a fan of it. I recommend it. This is not what I want. I'm looking for this. Where's the one? There's one. Is it Twitch Metrics that I was looking for? I'm going to stop, but no, there's another one. It's maybe it is Twitch Metrics. Give me a second. Tell you a thing. So like Twitch Metrics. Yeah, I think it's Twitch Metrics. Yeah, look. So like Twitch Metrics. Look, here's the thing. Twitch Metrics says that I'm the number 22 most watched channel under tabletop RPGs and number 10 most watched English language tabletop RPG channels. And that's just not true. I just don't believe that, and that's just not true. They do weird things, and so I don't like, but don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. I am not number 22 or number 10. I often hang out around number 50. Generally speaking, like somewhere between like 50 and 75 is where I sort of end up hanging out in terms of ranking. But like, I am not number 10. That's ridiculous. So I do not pay attention to them, and I don't listen to them. I think they're bogus. So any of the trackers that make me look too good is a tracker I'm not going to actually trust. So I go with Sully Gnome, where my numbers look a little bit more realistic. So that's the one I recommend. It's a very good site for data. Very good data site. Yes. Isn't having just one regular viewer already top half of streamers? Actually, I think it is. Yeah. Yeah. No, Hawkeye. Yeah. Getting affiliate is a real achievement, especially as a variety streamer. And the thing is, right? Because Owen is correct. And the thing that gets me is that so many. I look at I look at Reddit, and on the Twitch Reddit, people will come in there like, oh man, I haven't gotten. I've been streaming for like 5 weeks and I haven't gotten affiliate, and I feel like a failure because everybody knows that affiliate is just completely easy to do. Anyone and everyone can do it. And there are these people that like make these YouTube videos about how like anyone can make affiliate. You just do these 5 things and you make affiliate. But it's really not true that anyone can make affiliate. It's actually an achievement. As Owen says, it's an achievement to get it because it's not easy. It might seem easy, but it's not. And so if you made affiliate, if you didn't make affiliate, don't feel bad because it's actually not easy to make affiliate. Most people don't. If you did make affiliate, don't think that you're a failure because you're not a failure. Making affiliate's a big deal. So it's just one of those things where I just want people to feel better about themselves because I feel like we're using the wrong goalposts and it makes people feel badly about themselves when actually they're doing really well. And I just want people, the whole reason why I'm doing all this data crunching is because somebody was down on themselves and I didn't want them to be, and they were wrong. They were doing really well. So that's what I want to say. I want people to feel better about themselves. Yes. My big focus next year will be pushing the 2 modules I've created for my homebrew world. Oh, that sounds wonderful. If you just go own, it works. Own. Sucker is boring AF. It's one syllable based. Own. Sudid. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I get to go a little bit late. Let's see. All statistics are made up and time is passing for you. Yes. Time's up. Okay, I get to round down. Part of it, they're still selling the idea that you can make a living off of just streaming, no problem, which is BS. Yeah. I mean, maybe a couple of people can, but it's very rare. Like 1 person out of like a couple million, right? Based on what you said is required for affiliate, all that's required is to get your TTRPG group to show up every week. Easy, right? You'd think. Curl says there are no CR tonight. Okay. So, I'm not going to bed right away. When I get off of here, Lindy and I are going to co-work because I've got prep to do for tomorrow and for Saturday. And I did eat, but what I'm going to do is prep and also probably cook. Okay, so let me see. I did want to say, oh wait, we are still here. I should just finish this conversation. Have you seen this symbol before? No. So, I have an announcement. It's Krellin's fault. Krellin started it. It is his fault. I have an announcement. So here's the announcement. No Sandman tomorrow, but I polled the crew, and in 2 weeks, we're going to start up Sandman, and we're going to do Sandman for 4 weeks in a row. So basically all of January, not the first week of January, but the 3 weeks of January, not the first week, and the first week of February is going to be Sandman. And I still am trying to get one more person out of the Traveler crew to fill in the call sheet so I can figure out exactly when we're going to start, because I want to start with everybody there, because they're going to go into a spaceship fight. So I want everyone to be there. So I think we're probably going to start Traveler the first week of March, but I do need to get one more person to put in their availability so I can confirm it. But we're going to be spending January doing the rest of Sandman. I do not know if we can get all 3 more adventures in the 4 spots we have, but we might be able to. We might be able to finish the whole thing. And if so, that would be really cool. But I'm really excited to say that we're going to be doing Sandman. And I'm just really excited for it. So that's the big announcement. We're doing Sandman on Fridays, but we have 2 weeks of no Sandman. We're going to do Alone Against the Dark tomorrow. And I don't know if that's going to be a 1 session or a 2 session thing, but if we need 2 sessions, then we have 2 sessions. If it's only 1, then I will do one more thing. It might be going solo. Lindy, are you around next Friday? Are you around next Friday? I'll let you know. Possibly, because maybe we should have our showdown. We've been like prepping that for a long time, and maybe we should try to murder each other, not tomorrow, but the Friday after. Just think about it. We'll find out. So let me see. Okay, I'm just waiting for Tripper to let slip. He is ready the next part of Sandman after the last part. Look, there have been discussions because it's a really good system. It's a really good system, and there are things. That's all I'm saying.
He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No.
What does it look like to you?
Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency.
Wait. What is junior delinquency?
For Revachol ZOC, the moral intern defined junior delinquents as minors between the ages of 10 and 16 who have committed an act in violation of the law. These acts aren't called crimes as they would be for adults. Crimes committed by minors are called delinquent acts. This was part of your officer's exams.
He puts the handkerchief in his coat pocket. Well, what is suggestive of junior delinquency here?
I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth.
I agree, it's very modern, but does the cheery guy not know he's dead, or does the dead guy not care that he is? What is the source of the irony here?
That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
Okay, but let me just take off the sticker without ripping it.
You see a yellow circle with 2 X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead.
Capives, I am the art cop. I'm an art cop. I'd love to see her take this system and do something like a Cthulhu story or vampire something. Yeah, Volpez, like, you know...
There is something blindingly modern about this symbol.
We're talking about it. Okay.
Its modernness puts to shame everything.
Padlock.
This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden... It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock.
Yeah.
Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow.
We're gonna get the sticker.
There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb.
I'm gonna put the sticker on my ledger. Right on the cover.
Voila. Looks very modern.
Hey, I got experience. I feel
You're
very
part
cool.
of the Future Brigade now, and so is your formerly humdrum ledger. Neon, baby.
So exciting. And now I'm going to open the padlock with the key.
The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
Pull on the doors.
As you do, you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area. Its black holes and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes.
Strange.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the heart of the city.
So once we... Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Wow. I'm going to just see what my thought is, and then we're going to go. A strange stillness fills you as you look ahead. You should walk here, not run. Okay, we are going to save the game. Right now. Why is this red? Why do you think that's red? All right, we're saving. Then we're going to go to the main menu. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so before I finish, I need to get access to my mixer. Hold on. Okay. Oh, all right. So that's that, but good place to stop before you start into the church. Okay. Now, I had a couple things I wanted to tell you before I go, and then I'm going. I wrote them down. 1, Christmas pudding. No, that just means I need to go make one. I need to make a Christmas pudding and popovers. Cellbit, we talked about that. Schmaltz. Is suet like schmaltz is my question for you all. When I was in Germany, I went to a bistro, and they had like bread and butter on the table, like bread rolls and butter. And I was like, ooh, bread and butter, delicious. And they're like, oh, that's not butter, it's schmaltz. I was like, what is schmaltz? They're like, schmaltz. And I was like, but what is schmaltz? And they're like, And I was like, well, I know the word schmaltzy, like schmaltzy, which is like Yiddish for like overly sentimental. I don't know if that meant. So I put the schmaltz on the bread, and I ate it, and I was like, this is super gross. And it's lard. So schmaltz is like lard with spices in it, and they use it as a spread on bread. Is suet like that? That is my question. No, suet is solid. Schmaltz is rendered chicken fat. I see. If I remember right, it is pig fat. So it's not, okay. All right. So that was one of the things I had written down to talk about. The next thing I have written down to talk about, is it good? I didn't like it. But then again, I was also expecting butter, so I might have to try it again when I, like, in the right context. But people would eat it all the time. They would, like, spread it on butter and they would eat it. I think chicken is the Jewish version. Okay. And then the last thing that I wanted to tell you on my list, and then I've got everything, is I made a cake the other day. Irish butter is all you need, folks. Ooh, Irish butter is very good. Yeah, that's what I want. So I made a cake the other day. It no longer exists. The cake is gone. It's lost into my stomach. But I made a cake for the first time. And, well, I've made cake before, but this is the first time I made this cake. I made a pineapple upside down cake. And I'd never made one before. And it was very good. Like, you needed a pie dish, and then you put melted butter on there, and then you put brown sugar in the pie dish, and then you take pineapple slices and you place them on the bottom of the pie dish. The maraschino cherries inside little holes of the pie dish, and then you make batter, and the batter is like super simple. It's just like flour, some sour cream, egg, sugar, right? Just like basic. Some vanilla. Pour it in there into the pie dish, and then you bake it, and then you flip it upside down, and then boom, pineapple upside down cake. And it was very delicious, and it was not hard to make at all. And I was thinking about how delicious it was and how cheap it was to make. and how people make fun of it. Like I've heard people be like, "Oh, what kind of cake is that?" And I was like, "But I'd never had it before, and now I had it, and it was delicious." And so I made one. I shared it with a friend of mine. I did not eat the entire thing myself. I had a friend who also ate some, but it was really good. And I don't know why people made fun of it, because it was tasty. And if you've not made a pineapple upside down cake and you like pineapple, I recommend it. It's very easy to make. It doesn't take very long, and it was delicious. There you go. The cake is a lie. You have to put a ton of salt on it and have the bits we call fat barons, and you eat it on Schwarzbrot. Why upside down? Because you put the pineapples on the bottom of the pie dish, and then you put the batter on top. And so when it cooks, all the pineapples on the bottom. So when you flip it over, it looks like you've got like, then it has like, oh, right, you've got all the pineapple on top. It's very like fancy. Yeah, so it's very nice. Owen is like, that's a great cake. It's really good. Turn down the game if I plan to keep chatting. You're right. You're correct. Also, I'm not going to keep chatting. I'm basically done. Just going to catch up on chat, then I'm going. So when it's baked and turn out the pan, the pineapple's on top. Yep. Man, the brigadeiro word needs to get to the world. It's so easy to do. Carrot cake with brigadeiro is the best cake ever. Oh, wait. How is this? Okay, Capives, I need to find out what this is, because whatever this is, if it's a cake and it's a carrot cake, because I do love a good carrot cake, brigadeiro. It's a traditional Brazilian dessert. The origin of the dessert is uncertain, but the most common theory is it was created by a confectioner from Rio de Janeiro, Eloísa Nabuco de Oliveira, to promote the presidential candidacy of Eduardo Gomez. Actually, I've had a brigadeiro. There's a place around here that has some, and they're very delicious, but there's no carrot cake there. But now I need to know more about it. And now I need more about this. Let's see. Because you put the fruit, you need to look up kalte Hund cake. Well, I will look up that too. Speaking of kalte Hund, speaking of German cakes, I really want to make, it's not a cake. I really, really, really want to make an Augsburger Zwetschgendatschi, which is a sort of, it's tricky. What people who are not Augsburg is a city in Germany, in Bavaria. What people who are not Augsburger would say is that it's a plum cake, but the Augsburger would tell you it is not, they're not plums, and it's not a cake. So it is not a plum cake. It's a Zwetschgendatschi, and that is not a plum cake. Close enough, but it is not a plum cake. More stream. That is butter cakes and chocolate. Ooh. Yes, Capives, we have a Discord we have a channel for food. Presidential cake. Brigadeiro is search bolo. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna search for that. Thank you, Capives. Okay. Ooh. So, Zwetschgendatschi is made, it's from Augsburg. It's an Augsburg dish. And Augsburg. And they're not plums, they're Zwetschgen. And Zwetschge is not a plum. Now, in English, they're called either Italian prune plums or Empress plums. And I think they might also be called quince, but they're darker and they're pointed. And they're not as sweet as plums. And it's not a cake, it's a dachi, which is like a cake, really. But the story goes that it was made, so Augsburg, during the 100 Years' War, 30 Years' War, during the 30 Years' War, 30 Years' War, it was under siege, right? So there was Augsburg was under siege during the 30 Years' War for a couple of years, I think, so they didn't have any food. And the story goes, the myth goes, the fable goes, that because they're running out of food, they had to like make do, and so they couldn't make regular cake, so they made this thing they call a dachi, which is like a cake but very, very thin. So like a very, very, very thin sort of, it's kind of like a torte. It's kind of like a fruit torte, but they insist that it's a dachi, and dachi is not the same thing as a cake or a tort. That it is a dachi, and that it's also not plums or zwetschge. So people are very invested in these small details. But I really want to make one because it was really delicious. The only problem is it's not easy to get it's not easy to get zwetschge in the United States. You might if you go to like maybe a really fancy grocery store, you might be able to get them. But I'd love to make one. So let's see. Yeah, it's a special type of plum we had. You had it zwetschgen tree? Oh, nice. How long do you have for co-working with Trooper tonight? So basically, not a yeast dough that it's not a yeast dough that the rest of Germany uses to make its zwetschgen cake. There you go then. Okay, so that's it. That's the stream. Let me see. You can find me tomorrow at 7 p.m. here on my channel, Eastern, where I'll be doing Alone Against the Dark, the next Call of Cthulhu solo RPG. And then Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern on this channel will be part 2 of the Twilight Road. I need to go put out an advertisement for that. And then Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern over at Praxagor, the Smophoria's channel, will be episode 5 of Carousel Court. And then next time around will be here on Thursday, which will be January the 4th. And I may or may not be playing Disco Elysium. I will be here, but it may be like a end of year celebration. We will see. It depends on how much data analysis I get done and grading. But that's me. So you can find me at Trooper SJP on YouTube, where there's an archive of all the shows. Here, of course, I'm on Trooper SJP at Blue Sky, and Academic Foxhole on Twitter. Also, we have a fourth wall, which is academicfoxhole.fourthwall.com, I think. And we have a Discord. You can hang out there. And those are all the places you can find me. And you are all amazing and wonderful. And I'm going to go and co-work with Lindy to do prep for the games on Friday and Saturday. And that'll be it for me, everybody. You all also need to make some German potato salad. I'm going to do an hour's worth of cooking because I have some German potato salad to make. That's it, everybody. Take care of yourselves. It's been lovely chatting with you. And I will catch you on the flip side, everybody. Take care of yourselves and ciao.